Started. Welcome to Tuesday, April 21st, council meeting.
Thank you.
Appreciate y'all taking time out of your busy day to attend. The chair will enter a motion to accept the agenda.
I'm sorry, say it again.
The chair will entertain a motion to
So
accept
moved.
the agenda.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Creel, seconded by Mr. Tisdale. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Move on to the presentation agenda. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. President, and welcome everyone today. I see a lot of smiling faces. Got a couple things to do first before we get rolling. We have a longevity award first, right? Okay. You say who it is.
First, we have Kyle Illing, Code Enforcement, 5 years of service. And then we have Mr. Cleo Waits, Public Works Department, 30 years of service. Thank you, Van.
I'm just jealous.
Thank you.
That's all.
I've got to memorize these. Like, hold my bag.
When'd you get here? When'd you get here? Leo still works here.
I didn't know he was 30.
You have a proclamation for Picasso today, too.
You want your glasses?
Thank you, Mayor.
This one, right?
Yes, sir.
I'll give you the opportunity to talk after this, too, if you like. You
Yeah.
do a tremendous job. Whereas children are vital to our future success, prosperity, and quality of life are the most vulnerable assets we have. All our children deserve to have a safe, stable, nurturing homes and communities that need to foster their healthy growth and development. CASA of South Mississippi supports and promotes a court-appointed volunteer advocacy so every child who has experienced abuse or neglect can be safe and have the opportunity to thrive. In 2025, CASA of South Mississippi, 159 trained volunteers advocated for 381 children across Hancock, Harrison, and Stone counties, contributing over 11,000 hours of volunteer service to support their children in the youth court. Whereas through a national effort, Biloxi community members are encouraged to join together to raise awareness for those children who have fallen victim to abuse and neglect throughout the month of April. This effort will give abused and neglected children in our community and around the county a chance for a safe and a positive future. Now, therefore, I, Andrew Fofo Gillich, Mayor of Biloxi, Mississippi, do hereby proclaim the month of April as Child Abuse Prevention and Awareness Month. So congratulations, we appreciate it.
I first want to thank the City of Biloxi for supporting the work that we do on behalf of the abused and neglected children of this city. I'd also like to applaud that we currently have 12 CASA volunteers that are from Biloxi serving children in Harrison County. Additionally, we have 2 staff members who live in Biloxi and tirelessly work to support the mission of advocating for children in foster care. We wear the blue ribbon, so in case, I think before the meeting started, I came around with Kelly and gave out blue ribbons to folks in the audience and to our elected officials to say, we wear the blue ribbon during the month of April because there was a grandmother in Virginia in 1989 who tragically lost her own grandson as a result of child abuse and neglect. It was happening in her own community and her own family, and she knew nothing about it. She tied a car antenna, blue ribbon on a car antenna to educate the community and for folks to ask her, why are you wearing this? Why do you have this blue ribbon on your antenna? We continue to wear blue ribbons during this month to educate folks on the plight of children in foster care and their need for safe and permanent homes. Today, we have 253 children in Harrison County's foster care system. That is more than any other county in the state of Mississippi. I can tell you in the last 3 months, we have continued to see more kids come into foster care, and the numbers have started to rise, versus in the last few years, the numbers actually going down. At this moment in time, Casa of South Mississippi is serving 124 of those 253 children in Harrison County alone. The youth court judge here, Judge Mike Dickinson, wants a CASA volunteer for every child, and we will not stop until we identify enough volunteers to serve every child. It doesn't happen free of cost. There's obviously a time commitment to recruiting people, to training them, and then to supporting volunteer lay people to perform this unique volunteer service in youth court. Of the 124 children we serve today, 31 of those children were abused or neglected here in Biloxi and removed from homes here in Biloxi. Additionally, there are children in Biloxi that maybe weren't abused or neglected here, but they are placed with family in Biloxi or they're placed with foster parents in Biloxi. We simply must find more volunteers so that we can get to the point where we serve every child in foster care. If anyone today is thinking about or has ever thought about considering CASA volunteerism, it is an incredibly unique way to give back to children who are pure child victims. The majority of the children that we serve are under the age of 12 years old, and they come into the foster care system as a result of abuse or neglect. The largest number, about 70%, come into foster care because their parents' addiction or substance abuse issues. I would love to also invite our mayor and city council members to this Thursday's Harrison County fundraiser for CASA that will be held at the Great Southern Club starting at 5:30 p.m. If anyone would like to come, tickets are still available in the community. And please know that we will Thursday night recognize our CASA Volunteer of the Year from Harrison County, Miss Bernadette Vital, along with other community professionals, including attorney and community leader of the Gulf Coast, Mr. Roger Wilder. My final ask is really simple, but something that not everybody does. If you suspect child abuse or neglect, all adults in the state of Mississippi are mandatory reporters. So if you can, take out your phone and add the CPS hotline to your contacts. The number to report child abuse and neglect is 1-800-222-8000. 1-800-222-8000. Thank you again.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that. The last part of my report, I'd like to give some good news. I think this morning, I rode with Amtrak and in celebration of the 100,000th customer. And actually, really good news because I think 100,000 was last week. But the good thing to report, we stopped in Gulfport in Bay St. Louis, and I rode back from the westbound train, eastbound train from New Orleans. But the anticipation of the ridership for a whole year was 80,000. We've been riding for 8 months, so we're 4 months ahead of schedule. And they estimate that the actual one-year ridership will be 130,000. So it is really, really cool that people are enjoying this thing. And I think in talking with we had Knox Ross for the Southern Rail Commission, as well as Todd Stennis and a number of Amtrak folks that are doing the analysis. And there's a lot of good things that are going to be considered to even increase that. But they said it was surprising. And as a matter of fact, the mayor of Mobile rode to Pascagoula, but it was more encouraging. They never believed that they would have this much visitation, even to Mobile. But it is very surprising. And again, in Biloxi, as we came from Bay St. Louis to Biloxi, about 40 to 50 folks got off in Biloxi. So it's, I think we're, by far the most positive stop. So there are numbers, and I think we'll be able to kind of cash in on what moves us, and there's some things on the radar where maybe you don't have to stay all day in one place. So maybe once or twice a week, that's, at least it was talked about. So instead of, I think if you come to Biloxi, you would ride there about 10-ish, and then you have to stay there till about 5:30, and that's when it returns. So we may be able to talk someone into, to doing a half day. So you go ahead, eat lunch, and come on back before the end of business day. But the ridership is very strong, and the business trips and number of groups of folks were even ahead of what was anticipated. So it was very encouraging, and it's such a peaceful and great ride too. So anyway, I think that's all I have to report, and that's the end of my report. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor. Move
Council
on.
President,
Yes.
if I may, can I utilize the departmental reports?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
I appreciate that, and along with the mayor allowing us to do that. One thing I wanted to discuss was some meetings that we've had over the last 6 months with Main Street and also the downtown merchants, and we're looking at the downtown parking. To kind of cover, we started out with Howard Avenue, going from Main to Raynor, and redoing some of the parking in there. You see some of the changes that we've done now, I think from Main to Lemuse, and we're going to continue that throughout. But that's also going to be worked down south into the parking areas around the Rue Magnolia area as well. These have been over the last 6 months, and y'all know we meet once a month with Main Street and also the downtown here on I think it's Wednesdays. So from there, I've got some maps up here if y'all would like have any questions on there. But this has been worked over the last 3 to 4 months at least with the parking on those. So, and a lot of the input and a lot of the changes were made based upon the merchants and the Main Street Executive Committee taking a look at what can we do to make sure that we're not having individuals that park there, but we have customers that can come in, shop for a little while, and then move forward on there. So those are the things that are going on right now. I also have a few directors. I'm going to get up and just kind of give you a little heads up on some things as we go through, and then later on, if y'all have any questions or anything, we'll get to them after that, please. So, Rachel?
Give y'all just a brief update on the towing services. If y'all remember, in December, we passed a new ordinance. That ordinance said that we would be publishing requests for proposals, that we would adopt rules, and that we would adopt rates. At this point, we adopted the rules in January, published for the first time and opened on March 4th. We received only one bid, so we published again and opened April 1st. Election committee is in the process of reviewing those, necessary inspections, all of this to get compliance. Once that's done, we'll be presenting the proposed rates to y'all for approval and the contracts. But until that happens, nothing is in effect at this point. So it is just still the old tow rotation list that is going.
So,
Thank you, Rachel.
excuse me, I missed the first part. Tell me again what this is, or the gist of for
Just general towing services.
of general towing services, correct? All right, thank you. I missed that.
Thank you, Rachel. Mr. Creel?
Thank y'all for allowing me to speak. As you know, we've been facing a number of false allegations on Facebook and some other social media posts about projects that are going on in town. And I just want to, first of all, introduce Felicia Surface, who is our senior planner, who sits next to me at every DRC meeting and hears the conversations that are conducted with these developers. But thank you to the mayor and to the CAO for allowing us to have the opportunity to get up here and explain. And the two projects I want to talk about is the Monarch Villas project on Pops Ferry Road, and then the Retreat project that's at the corner of Cedar Lake Road and Tribe Drive. And the only way that I can do this is to kind of give you a history of how each one of these projects evolved. So most of you, I'm assuming, know where the Monarch Villas is. And this took place, Councilman Glavin would probably he was here as a councilman. Dr. Tisdale was here. I can't remember if Councilman Shoemaker was here, but this will be new to the rest of y'all. Monarch Villas. In December of 2022, Elliott Homes came to the Development Review Committee with a plan for developing a small home rental community on the property located at the corner of Pops Ferry Road and Motsey Road. Elliott stated that the market was just not right at that time for selling these units, so what they wanted to do was a rental community, a small home rental community. The property was zoned RB, which allows single-family residential homes as a use by right, and allows a density of 30 units per acre. The property contained 1.5 acres, which would allow 45 rental units. They were proposing somewhere between 20 and 25 in the beginning. Since the use was allowed by right, it did not require Planning Commission or City Council approval to move forward. The site plan for the rental community was approved by the Development Review Committee in July of 2023, and building permits were issued for the houses to be constructed. One other thing that should be noted is that because the property was zoned RB, the use in these structures was not limited to single-family residential. It could also be used for commercial offices, so it could just as well have been a commercial office complex. By January of 2024, all the building permits had been issued and all of the houses were either complete or under construction. Then 4 months later, in April of 2024, Elliott representatives returned to the Development Review Committee and stated that the market had changed and they wanted to subdivide the lots and sell them. I informed them at the DRC meeting, that the only way that this could be accomplished was to convert the property to a PD, a planned district, with a preliminary subdivision plat. Since they wanted to market the homes as short-term rentals, a PDR would not work because PDR does not allow short-term rental, and so they would have to ask for a PDC, Planned Development Commercial, with a preliminary subdivision plat, which would also allow short-term rental. But at the DRC committee meeting, I made it very clear that before they could apply for the PDC, they would have, and the preliminary plat, they would have to apply for a variance because both a PDR and a PDC require a 5-acre minimum, and they only had 1.5 acres. I also informed them they probably would not get the variance because they were requesting such a large variance. They stated that they were willing to take the risk, and if denied, they would simply be in the rental business. That was the position that they took. So they made application, and in June of 2024, a public hearing was held before the Board of Zoning Adjustments and Appeals to consider the variance to the 5-acre minimum requirement. To our surprise, the variance was approved 12-0, and Elliott Homes submitted their application for the PDC, Planned District Commercial, and the preliminary subdivision plat. The public hearing was held before the Planning Commission on August the 1st of 2024 and was approved 15-0. On August 20th, 2024, the PDC, the Planned District Commercial, and the preliminary subdivision plat went to the City Council and was approved 5-1-1. On October the 1st, 2024, the final subdivision plat was approved by the City Council 5-2. So the questions that we get, why is single-family residential not allowed in a PDC? That's one of the questions that's been asked. And that's one of the questions that we asked as well, because single-family residential homes are allowed in all of our business zones: LB, NB, CB, RB, DT, and waterfront. All of those allow single-family homes. Also, 3 of our PDs allow single-family homes: the PDR, Planned District Residential, the PDT&D, which is the Traditional Neighborhood District PD, and also the PDI, which is a Planned Development Infill. And in the PDC, all of our residential uses are allowed except single-family residential. 3 and 4 family dwellings are allowed, duplexes are allowed, upper story dwellings are allowed, group homes are allowed, dormitories are allowed, fraternity and sorority houses are allowed, and assisted living facilities are allowed. So the staff, as we bring these projects forward and lay them down beside the LDO, we sit there and look at some of the languages in there and say, why would if all of this is allowed in a PDC, why would single-family homes not be allowed? So Felicia generates a list every year of contradictions or questions about things in the LDO that need to be changed. And usually once a year, we'll conduct a public hearing before the Planning Commission to explain it to them what it is and why we're asking for it, and then we bring it to the council for what's called a text amendment, which is one of the reasons that this single-family residential issue is on the council today. We could not think of a single reason that single-family residential should be prohibited in a PDC, which is why we suggested the text amendment you're hearing today. The structures there, because the zoning was already correct, it was RB, regional business, the structures there were already either under construction or some of them were even completed when they came back to us to seek the PDC. We issued the permits for all of those. So after these structures were built, you know, the question came up about, well, single family is not allowed in a PDC. Well, what were we supposed to do? Go back to these people and say, well, we gave you permits to build the houses, but now you can't use them. Certainly not. So because these can be used, the zoning was correct in the beginning, and because they can be used not only for short-term rental and commercial uses, they finished out the houses, and the questions, the public hearings had been held before the Planning Commission and the City Council. You know, this assertion that some deal was cut, somebody went in the back room and cut, wait a minute, if you're going to cut a deal, you don't have public hearings all the way through the process. So that is Monarch Villas. Now I'd like to, and I'm going to try to go as quick as I can. I know your time is valuable. Let's talk about the retreat. And again, this is the one at the corner of Cedar Lake Road and Tribe Drive in Wells. In July of 2005, we received an application for a 3-lot, 3-phase subdivision. It was called a PUD under the 2003 ordinance, which is what we were under at that time. We didn't have PDR or PDC. It was a PUD, and there was only one kind. It was a mixed-use community, part commercial, part residential. The overall PUD, the plan unit development, had 47.8 acres, of which 17.6 acres were designated for phase 1, which is the e-fitness structure that already built, and it would have some commercial and some retail uses within the structure, within the fitness structure. The remaining 30.2 acres would be primarily residential. That's what was presented. The mixed-use PUD, or planned unit development, was approved by the City Council in January of 2006, and Phase 1 returned to the Development Review Committee so that we could review and approve the civil plans. Phase 1 included the main e-fitness structure, which was constructed and opened, but because the developer also installed the infrastructure for Phase 2 and Phase 3, and he also built the parking for Phase 2 and built A.J. Holloway Boulevard for Phase 3, construction had started in all 3 phases. So the PUD did not expire after 5 years as what's being presented under the 2003 LDO. When the e-fitness center closed in 2016, the new 2010 land development ordinance included a transition table where previously approved PUDs or planned unit developments would be reclassified as appropriate, that's the language, it's in the LDO, as appropriate to a planned development. Since the majority of the remaining property, the 30.2 acres, was proposed for residential use, the PDR, planned district residential, was the most appropriate transitional zone. PDR, planned district residential, although residential in the title, also allows many related commercial uses as long as the commercial uses are of a type and scale that primarily serve the needs of the residents of the PDR and are not trying to draw outside people into the development. Under the 2010 land development ordinance, in other words, the uses are not designed to draw outside customers into the PDR. Under the 2010 land development ordinance, an approved land development would expire when approved if no work is done within 2 years of the PD being approved. Well, that expiration does not apply because Phase 1 had already been built. This was a transition from a PUD to a PDR. The e-fitness center had already been built, and the infrastructure, the utilities, the parking for Phase 2, and the A.J. Holloway Road had already been built. So there was no expiration after 2 years as stated in the 2010 LDO. Since the original, in 2022, the property was acquired by a new developer who moved the offices for Margaritaville into Phase 1, the e-fitness building. In 2023, the new developer met with me to discuss plans for the remainder of the property, Phases 2 and Phases 3. When he described the nature of his plans for the residential community, actually a gated residential community, to include single-family and multifamily rental dwelling units, I asked if he intended to subdivide and sell the units. He said, no, the units will be strictly rental. This will be a gated rental community, and all the utilities would be privately owned. When he stated that he would not be subdividing the property into individual lots, I suggested that he simply build out the PUD that had previously been approved in 2006. After discussion, he decided to move forward with Phases 2 and Phases 3 of the planned unit development to include multifamily and single-family residential. He spent the next several months going back and forth through the Development Review Committee to obtain approval, which he received in September of 2025. Since no modifications or amendments to the previously approved site plans or subdivision of the property were proposed, the proposal did not require Planning Commission or City Council approval. Had the previous site plans for Phase 2 and 3 been approved or a subdivision of the property been proposed, this would have been considered an amendment to the PUD master plan and would have required a public hearing before the Planning Commission and City Council approval. I'll use the Frisbee property as an example. Hidden Springs for the Frisbee property was approved as a PDR, a planned district residential. The reason that each phase comes back to the Planning Commission for approval and then to the City Council for approval is because all of that is considered an amendment to the master plan. That's why it happened. No site plans had been approved for this development other than Phase 1. The other two were just future development for single family and multifamily. So in summary, the retreat will be a gated community with heavy landscaping around the perimeter and private utilities. This is not subsidized housing. Houses and apartments are for rental only. There is no intention of subdivision. I have a letter in the file, a commitment from the property owner. He has absolutely no intention of ever subdividing that property. And even if they did, again, that would be an amendment to the master plan and will require them going back through the Development Review Committee, the Planning Commission for a public hearing, and coming back to the council to approve it. The commercial uses are not designed to attract outside customers, and even the underlying zoning, if someone could make an argument that the PUD had expired, even the underlying zoning allows more density than what they're proposing there. The southern part of this property is zoned LB, which allows 10 units per acre, and because of the size of the property, it would allow 92 units. That's exactly what they built, 92 units on the southern part of the property south of A.J. Holloway. On the north part of the property, they could have 424 units, and they're only building 283 apartments. So I guess the point I'm trying to make here is that all of this, every bit of it, went through the proper steps to get the necessary approvals. Public hearings were held for both properties, even though one was held back in 2005. All of it was held, and we wanted to, again, I want to thank the mayor and the CAO for allowing us to get up here and tell the other side of the story other than what's being proposed out there on Facebook. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Creel. President Clavin, thank you. Thank you, Mayor, for allowing
May I
us.
ask one question? If that's all right, Jerry, if you don't mind. You mentioned that the southern part of the property and the north part of the property. And then there's that third portion, I guess, would be to the east side of the property?
The e-fitness center was phase one.
Right.
The property on Tribe Drive wraps around the e-fitness property. That was phase two.
Okay.
Phase three is south of A.J. Holloway in that area. And comes
Okay. Was there any property east of, at the south end of Cedar Lake?
Yes,
On the
sir.
east side, was that part of this development as well? And what is that, the east side of that property to be used for, or do you know if they stayed?
Residential. That's what's being proposed as residential. They actually own property on the east side of the proposed Cedar Lake extension, but they have no frontage yet, so they really can't
Right.
put anything in there. But and they haven't presented anything to us.
Okay, so,
If they present something new to us, and it requires planning commission or city council review or approval, we'll certainly bring it.
so we don't know if that housing would be rental only or not?
The developer has told me there will be no property for sale on this property at
Okay,
all.
all right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Creel. Councilman Glavine.
All right. Thank you, Rick. All right, we'll get on with council reports. We'll start with Ward 1. Mr. Gray.
On April 19th, Gorm Flows is going to put on a champion celebration fishing tournament on April 29th at 6 p.m. I guess that's when the weigh-in is what I have. Mr. Jerry Creel, administration, for your administration, can you look at Comfort Street from Lee Street towards Keller? There's an oak tree there, and we want to vacate from Lee Street past that oak tree, so we don't kill it.
Yes, sir.
So we want to pave that road, but that's one of our things we're waiting on that one.
Take a look at that and schedule
Yeah.
administration.
Okay, thank you. Jamie, can you give me an update on the Point Cadet splash pad and playground equipment?
Good afternoon, Council. Point Cadet splash pad, what is working now is the non-leaking part. So I believe 3/4 of it is operational. We've been seeing some people using that. As far as the playground goes, it is barricaded and secured due to not being operational at this time, and we're still looking at different things to do with that area.
We're still looking for the funding. All right, can you give us an update on the Denali Ballpark, current condition?
Grass is being cut.
What's it, we have pictures we put up there? I know it's been a sore subject for the last day or two.
Right.
Trust me, we know. And Mr. Danny Denelli was your uncle, correct?
Great uncle, Dan.
Great uncle. I'm sorry for y'all's loss.
Correct.
And I know it's never a great time. Is that a bird's nest up on the light pole?
Probably an osprey nest, yeah.
Okay. What
I
about?
know, the lights are no longer operational. It's been a very long time since any organized ball has been played there.
Right, so how many years? 20 plus?
Probably since the complex was built.
Probably since I was a kid when I played on there.
Well, I mean, it's the same, the same thing with all of our parks. We upkept the parks after, up till right after Katrina. And then once the complex was built, the neighborhood parks just kind of faded away. Everybody wanted to be at the complex, that's where everything was centrally located. That's where all the games, everybody could play, multiple fields. And then we, of course, when we had our shutdown, we were able to, work in hands with the Bombers as well as some of the others like Savaro, get those parks back open again, where we were able to play organized ball during the complex renovations. And then now that the complex is back open again, you're seeing the majority of, or all of your organized ball basically is back at the complex again. So,
In your opinion, what would it take to get this ballpark back going? For practice or whatever? I mean, people are using it for
a significant amount of funding.
Funding? I mean, how much you think?
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. I really, without, just walking.
Let me jump in, Jamie, too. Part of the analysis is, the bang for the buck. You put X amount of dollars in it, and the usage is going to kind of drive the decisions on what's the highest and best use of that property. So I think that's some of the things that I've been challenging our group to say, okay, where do we, there was a study on inventory in parks and the usage of parks. It may not be in one ward, but people from the other wards use these things. So I think the analysis would be the usage versus the commitment to dollars.
Yeah, and we got another one right around the corner from this one too, correct?
Yeah.
McDonald Field, Crawford Street.
There's quite a few parks, public places in Ward 1. There are.
Right. So how would your family feel about this park being surplus? I mean, have your mom commented anything?
Well, I mean, speaking on it as a family, I remember growing up with my Uncle Dan, talking to him, and he loved watching baseball. He loved being at the ballpark. That is not a ballpark. That is just an area that is no longer in use. So, what I would like to see as a family member, is maybe looking at dedicating another area in the city, maybe a field at A.J. Holloway. I was talking to someone, all 4 of the parks that I grew up playing ball in are no longer there. Volunteer, Cavalier, Lee Street, and Hollis Field. Those are all no longer in existence. So I think maybe we need to look at something on what we do have, where people are at, remembering them that way, whether it's Dr. Hollis, field at A.J. Holloway Sports Complex, maybe looking at Barbara Farrell Field at A.J. Holloway softball side. I think that's the direction that I would like to see it go as family. Now, putting on a different hat here, of course, that would have to be up to you guys and administration to kind of lead that charge there. But I think something along those lines would be how he would want to be remembered by, because that's where the ball is being played.
Yeah, let me say, that's well said, Jamie. And again, I think gives us some opportunity to do what's the best use of what we have in our hand, but remember our heritage. And I think that's in a nutshell. So well said.
Yeah, we have heritage in every ballpark we have. Even the buildings that got washed away during Katrina, we still have that. Councilman Jamie Creel come up with a good idea, kind of same thing. It's naming some of the fields in honor of them. I mean, that's a great idea. I'm sure your uncle wouldn't want to be honored for this.
Right.
I mean, it's parks and, the building needs tons of work.
Like I said, growing up and having the conversations with him, pushing me towards baseball and wanting me to play. Of course, I preferred golf over baseball, but he would always talk to me about, watching ball, playing, back when all the parks were still there, of course. This was prior to, this was back in the 80s. So, I think for him to have something where ball is actually being played, where people are together doing that, there's no doubt in my mind if he was still here today, he would be at the complex watching ball.
Right.
So, that's how I feel about it personally.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Here, Denelli Ballpark is on the agenda for surplus. This park has not been used in over 30 years. I played ball at this park when I was a kid. I understand what it means to people, but we have people dumping trash, abandoned cars on the property. When the city picks the trash up, the next day there's more trash dumped. It's sad that people have to dump trash everywhere. We deal with it all the time. It's just what it is. Now this park is up for surplus. People want to restore this park. We have the Crawford Street McDonald Field Park. It's a low-lying area and can be turned into a practice field for kids also. Hopefully, maybe these volunteers will want to do that. That's what we need. We talk about repopulating East Biloxi. West Biloxi has been growing. The growth has been going up. North Biloxi, the growth. How many homes has been coming up in y'all's ward? A lot. What, Kenny, what did we say, a couple hundred, 900 last night?
About 900 on the drawing board right now.
On the drawing board. We have about probably 10 in the last 20-something years since Katrina. We've been sitting up in this council begging for developers to come and build. We have a developer wants to build 200 apartment complexes on this property. They're looking for large tracts of property. That's the idea. They can't take a whole lot, and they got 60 lots, and only one person wants to sell. They look for something altogether. That is why Wool Market's growing. That's why President Kenny's ward is growing, because there's large tracts of property. Same thing in Jamie Creel's ward, next to Tailgaters. That's a big, long, 20, 30 acres. That's why they want
That's
this.
Ward 6. That's Ward
Y'all fight
Ward
that.
6.
Well, we had the opportunity to bring in 200 families that will spend money at our local businesses. These are not low-income apartments. They are market-price apartments. This revenue to help move the city forward. This is the only large parcel of land in East Biloxi without oak trees to have to be removed. There's another lot, and I want to say in Mr. Creel's ward. Let's say this company does that. How many trees has got to be removed? Then we're in the same boat. Nobody's ever going to be happy about everything. We have hundreds of small empty lots in this area. This is one reason we have a shortfall in the revenue. The city is losing between $1,000 and $2,000 per lot per year. Then inflation on top of that, for 25 to 30% rise over the last 5 years. The city's revenue runs around $74 million and has not gone up with over $50 million in payroll. Everyone in the city says we have a spending problem. That's called keeping the city going, or like most people say, keeping the lights on. We need the police department, the fire department. We need public works, parks and recs. If a water line or sewer line breaks, someone has to fix it. We have city buildings that need repairs, generators that need replacing. I get lots of calls from the citizens every day wanting or needing something done. Sidewalks repaired, lights fixed, grass cut, trash picked up. I'll call Be Connect to report this stuff. All that costs money. And we're short of money right now, and we're trying to work on it. Last year's budget was around 84. This year's budget is probably going to be somewhere around 74. $10 million shortfall. So tell me where everyone wants to cut the spending at. What I'm saying is the city actually needs around $90 million a year to run, to help fix sidewalks, roads, building repairs. If not, this city will continue to be in the shape it's in with no funding. This is just the truth. No one wants to hear that. Just a blame game. The casinos may have been a fix at the time, but not now. We, the citizens, are to blame for not raising millage to help keep up with inflation. Millage hasn't been raised in over 30 years. The school raised millage twice in the last 2 years. Nobody notices that. The people have figured out that they want their city, the people have to figure out what they want their city to look like and how they want to pay for it. We depend on the state and Congress to help fix our city. That takes years to get funding from them to help. When it's our responsibility as a citizen, we have the lowest millage on the coast, and that comes with a price. Broken sidewalks, potholes, not enough money to pay for full-time trash truck drivers to pick up the trash people dump. Playground equipment, the list just goes on. Everyone in the city, everyone can go to the city's website. On the right side, click on accounting and see where the funding is actually being spent. It's on our website. We have a developer wants to buy a ballpark that we haven't used in over 30 years to build housing, to bring hundreds of people that will shop and eat here. Developers want a shovel-ready property to build on. We have a park that needs lots of work. let's say the park gets restored. That's great news, right? Everybody comes in, volunteers. Wait, there ain't no parking. Now we need a $250,000 parking lot. Where's that money coming from? Then we need lights on it to keep it safe. Ward 1 has 17 parks. Point Cadet needs $120,000 playground equipment. The Arrow Park's nice. We use it for practicing. We have McDonald Field that needs to be restored. Forest Avenue, O'Reilly's Park, Clay Point Park, Lighthouse Park. It goes on and on with the parks that we have in Ward 1. This apartment complex is much needed for us to bring revenue, to repopulate East Biloxi. So let's build a better Biloxi together by voting to surplus this land. Our vote will help repopulate East Biloxi like my vote helps populate your ward. The budget this year is not looking good. Something has to give. We can watch the city everyone loves to continue to deteriorate or bring back to life. We have to look at a 3% mill increase or to continue the way it's going. It's everybody's call. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gray. Mr. Marshall?
Come back to me.
Mr. Nail?
Well, I'm going to follow up on that one. My little stuff don't mean too much now. No. The repairs at the bathrooms at Hilla Park, I went by there and took some pictures yesterday. What's the update on doing that?
Sorry, in 2 minutes.
We are getting in touch with the electrician this week from the KOPC group that we spoke to. Of course, we said, the primary thing was to get the roof fixed. Now that we have the roof fixed, now we want to get the lights fixed underneath it. And once we get the lights, then that's when we're really going to sit and look at the plan on how we want to renovate that bathroom and about what it would cost to do that.
All right. Is there any way you could maybe open them gates up and clean it up a little bit? Because when people walk up to it, they go, wow. I mean, it's nasty in there.
Right. Yes, sir. We can do that.
Yeah.
We'll do that.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And I was going to ask engineer about sidewalk repairs. Are we still doing sidewalk repairs?
Yes, sir.
Where are they working now? I mean, I don't see them like I used to.
They have been working, they were doing some concrete panel repairs, I think in the Bluff. They've done some repairs in Goose Point in the last week or two. Think about where else. They're working every day doing concrete repairs.
So we could
have one crew, so you may not just necessarily stumble across them unless you.
So we could just call you and get on the list and give you an address?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Update us on the concrete contract. I think that has been awarded.
We did just open bids on we have also a unit price concrete contract.
Oh, okay.
For bigger projects that the in-house crew can't do, so we'll have that.
We just had that bid a week and a half ago. Yeah.
Late this week.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
And I guess it's a big lot to Rick about keeping the grass at Hiller Park cut again. I mean, not Hiller Park, at the Broadwater Golf Course. If we could keep on top of them, it seems like it's working with the homeless people like disappearing. If we can keep it and not wait like 3 months to cut it again, maybe once a month.
Yes, sir.
It's still looking good, but it's good. It'll get out of control fast this time of year. All right, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nail. I'm going to start my report off by thanking Public Works. There was an issue, I know it wasn't in my ward, but Mr. Suarez lives in my ward, and he reported some debris on his property, and y'all responded very promptly. He sends his thanks, and I told him I would share that with you today for Lee and Suarez streets. Y'all got to that very quickly. This past Friday, I had the honor to speak to the Cub Scout Pack 212. at Camp Wilkes, and spent a couple hours with those kids and parents out there. And a lot of people think scouting is on the decline. You wouldn't know it talking to those kids out there. They were very engaged, they were very bright, and the volunteers and the parents and the troop leaders were so engaged with the kids. And I'm going to transition. They actually asked if they could attend my award meeting, which we held last night. There was over 100 people in attendance, and I want to thank the council. I think every council member represented every ward there, and I appreciate, guys, for y'all taking time off your busy schedules to come to the meeting. And we had a lot of speakers there. The mayor actually gave a proclamation to the Cub Scout 212, and if you didn't know, one of the famous PAC 212 members was Fred Hayes. And to learn about a little bit of that history was very neat for everybody to learn that. Rick talked about budgets and bonds, and I think every question was answered, when he was finished explaining it and all that kind of stuff. But truly, I've heard people after the meeting, Rick, even though there wasn't a lot of questions, they appreciated what you explained and how you outlined what's ahead and the situation we're in. We appreciate that. That's good leadership. We had a panel with Jerry Creel, Dennis Stiefel, who is a design and builder, along with Freddie Fountain, who also is a builder. And they talked about the tremendous growth that is happening with residential, development in that area. And to have developers there, normally we have Mr. Creel there going and listing out these developments, but to actually have these developers be able to look people in the eye and explain what is happening, what it's going to look like, and answer some of the concerns and questions was really good. And I'm going to have some follow-up homeowner association meetings, and they have volunteered to come to any and all of the meetings if they're available, and we'll make sure that happens. Mr. Bill Lavers with the Harrison County Development Commission. I had a last-minute dropout with the Coastal Mississippi, and I was thinking, well, who could come and talk about economic development? And there was one phone call late in the morning, and he made his way there despite his busy schedule, busy afternoon, and he got a lot of credit for his talk. And he said he'll be available, if available with his busy schedule, he'll come do some follow-up talks. He has a lot of good stuff to share and engage with us. Jamie Lee, great job talking about the sports programs for our local youth. Matt Marver with the Sanger. The Sanger isn't coming soon, the Sanger is here. And he outlined the shows that are booked, and it created a lot of excitement for the folks in attendance. They're certainly looking forward to that amenity. Marcus Boudreau, school superintendent, talked about the timeline, talked about he gave a state of the education report, basically, state of the Biloxi schools, and talked about people are concerned about the capacity. Will we have enough capacity for the students by all this growth that is happening with the new homes going up? And he said yes. They built these schools to be able to handle an influx or an increase in the population, and they've already taken steps in the future to make sure, if necessary, to have temporary kind of facilities available if necessary. But they think they're going to be able to absorb the increase in the population. He also touched on the new traffic signal at Motsey Road and the necessity for that light. I've had discussions with them all the way up until this point, and we're trying to plan this to meet, by the time the school is built, we'll be able to install that traffic signal and make it safe for the ingress and egress of the kids. And then finally, we had Scott Delano, General Joe Spraggins, which was a treat, and Christy Labatad talk about the new master dredging plan. They like to call it sediment removal, using a different pot of money and everything, but I'm asking the mayor, we got a deadline, I think it's June 1st or July 1st, but there's a deadline, and I'm asking the mayor to consider Brazier Bayou to be added to that list for consideration. And the reason I asked that, Mayor, is that a few years ago, when we were doing some surveying, there was submerged aquatic vegetation, and it prevented us from doing any dredging in that area because of that underwater vegetation. Well, we had an incident, or this was good. We had saltwater intrusion come up in our canals, and it killed all the submerged aquatic vegetation. And a couple years ago, we were able to get $400,000 to do some initial dredging. And I just don't want the time to run out where all of a sudden, because of the depth of the water is so shallow, that that vegetation reemerges, and then we're unable to do the dredging in that area. All right, said a lot about my meeting. If there was one thing that came out of it, it displayed Biloxi and the team that we have. It's not just one council member. It's not just 7 council members or directors. We were able to show the citizens last night the rest of our team with all the other players that is in this game to win for our citizens and for the betterment of Biloxi. And so that was a really good thing. I had many, many follow-up emails and text messages today that was really positive. All right, I'm going to switch to Danella. I had an hour conversation with Miss Audrey Danella today on the phone. She lives in Georgia. And I had forgotten about this, but about 15, 16 years ago, she planned her Sacred Heart reunion at what is now the Doubletree. Back then it was 4 Points. And so we started out the conversation on that, and then we segued into, hey, look, I wanted to reach out to you. We got a real controversial topic. I know this field honors your family name, and, what can we do? And she said, well, years ago, there was discussion that we were going to rename the fields at A.J. Holloway Sportsplex after, I think, Mr. Gray kind of ran down some of the names, and she said that would really be neat, But she also said, if y'all can pause it, they got a family funeral this weekend, and she asked if we could table this for 1 week. And she's going to try to make an appearance. And I would love to see her sitting in front of us and pouring out with her heart what Danella means to her and some of the ideas that she may have. And I think we may find that, she thinks it would be pretty cool to where all the kids are going through. There's no kids at Danella right now. There's hundreds and thousands of families and kids and grandmothers and fathers that pour through those gates of A.J. Holloway Sportsplex, because we have the parking out there, we have the capacity to meet the needs of youth sports. And wouldn't it be cool to let all those people know that, hey, you're not playing on Field 1, you're playing on Danella Field or Hollis Field, out there. And that would truly honor the legacy of these families. And I want to look, I grew up on Crawford Street. That's right across the railroad tracks from the park, and I played in the park too. And guess what happened when a train came by? We loved it. If you were at bat and there was a train coming by, what were you trying to do? You were trying to hit the heck out of that ball, and you wanted to try to hit that train. And so it does have that storied history. But it would be neat for all these families to kind of revisit that when they say, hey, where are you playing tonight? And they say Danella Field. So, but anyway, I look forward to that. I'm going to offer, I know A.J. Holloway Sportsplex is in my ward, and I'll offer every energy that I have to make that happen, to commemorate those families. I think that's it. Concludes my report. Mr. Crew.
All right, let's see. First of all, if I could start out with, if I could get everyone to agree to adjourn in memory of one of our firefighters, Craig Bayes Sr., who passed away, along with one of our longtime citizens that worked for Harrison County as the deputy tax assessor, Mr. Jerry Wayne Misko, who passed away as well. So if we can agree to adjourn in memory of them.
Mr. Crew will reserve that privilege and honor to you when we do adjourn.
Perfect. Thank you. So before we get started, if I could, our Beautification Commission Council has been working hard on getting some things. We got a couple of things on the agenda today that we'll get to here later, but they put together a video. Unfortunately, the commissioners couldn't make it today, out of town or work, but they have a video that they've compiled on what they've done, what they're doing, and what the future holds going forward. So if I could get your attention and your patience real quick. Thank you. Thank you, Ken.
Thank you again.
Yeah, I think, did y'all want to watch it again? I just, is this mic back on? Test, yep. She's got it.
You want to use mine?
There we go. We're back on. All right, yeah. So I applaud their efforts, man. Like I said, and I can't say it enough, it's a group of volunteers that have no authority and no budget, but yet they take the time out to come up here and meet twice a week, and that's just in the meeting. What they do outside of the meeting, right there, as you can see in the short few months that they've been in existence, I can't wait to see what's coming forward. So I appreciate you guys, the administration, and what's on the agenda today, and so we'll get going on that. To touch base real quick on Danella and to follow up with Councilman Gray and even Councilman Glavin said, I too have requested that we table this for a week, just out of respect for the upcoming funeral that is up this week, and let the family concentrate on the memories and what they have to do right now as they lay to rest their loved one, as opposed to us vacating something that means so much to them. On that note, there's several properties, fields, buildings, areas that have been donated to the city that come with asterisks and/or caveats. So when that's something that when we go to look at vacating and/or listing something as surplus, we need to date back and see what those asterisks and caveats are. For example, Lopez Public Safety Building, you know, it was a school. They tore it down, but in order for the Lopez family to donate it, they had to, you guys put a classroom on the second floor just for instruction to satisfy that need, because that was one of the things is that they wanted for educational purposes. Same thing with this, you know, when the Coon family donated it years ago, it was for a public area. So I think those things, when we go to look at all of these areas that have been donated to the city, we look at those asterisks and/or caveats that come along with it to make sure that we're honoring that and we're acknowledging that going forward. Just looking at those pictures, Councilman Gray, there's an osprey there. I'm not so sure you can move that light pole if you wanted to with the osprey. You got to go through so much to do that. Jerry, just real quick on the ballpark, what zoning is that? What zoning would that fall under right now? Is it single-family dwelling or? The only reason I'm asking is if it's a single-family dwelling, you couldn't put apartments there anyway without it being rezoned.
The reason I'm hesitating is because we haven't had a site plan or anything presented to us yet, so the research into it, you know, it's just been discussion about.
Okay.
Now, I do know that there is some multifamily residential around that neighborhood over there. Alicia's trying to pull it up. We may not get there. I'll get that information.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, if we get enough votes to table it so the family can at least concentrate on one thing, we can address it next week and
Should have the answer to that before that item comes up on the agenda, so it didn't have any.
Okay, all right, and so I will mention this. 3 years ago, that concerned group that Councilman Gray mentioned came to the Director of Parks and Rec back then and asked if they could adopt the field similar to what the Bombers did at Miguez Park, and they were told no. So there is community outreach 3 years ago that wanted to come in and adopt those fields and turn it into a practice field similar to what Miguez Field is today. So there is interest. I will say that. I understand that, you know, over time we have to evolve, but at the same time, as long with Director Lee and what the councilman up here have said so far, we could, if you look at the master plan and you got A.J. Holloway Sportsplex, but you have Danella Field, Miguez Field, Barbara Farrer Field, on opening day, just think about the reunions that could be held on those individual fields. Have you played at Danella Park? Come out and support Danella Park. These are the teams that are playing on Danella Field. Same thing with Miguez Field. I'm sure Mr. Bobby Miguez would love to be out there walking that field with those guys. I'm sure he'd be barefoot just like he was back in the day. But anyway, that's what I'd say, if we could agree to table it for a week, if that's possible. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Creel. Mr. Tisdale?
Yes, just one thing. Christie, if you don't mind, I just have one question.
You heard him say that. One. You heard him say that.
He said one question.
That's right. Just one question. Just one question. Yeah, and it's not who you're going to yell for either. Okay. So have we found a funding source yet to resurface all those roads in Bay Vista subdivision that are, you know, we're replacing all those water lines? And the second part of that question is, do we have an estimated completion date on that project, a month?
Yeah, the completion date is about a month, maybe, I don't remember off the top of my head, a month, maybe 2 months away, but we're real close. They're at
Okay.
end of March, they were at 80% complete, so we're finishing up. As for a potential funding source, no, we have not identified a potential funding source. With the MIMA money not being put into the budget, I'm not saying that that's what we would use, but typically that's where we look for, and the last couple rounds haven't been put in the budget, so we haven't.
Right, and that's going to be several million to resurface all that if you did it at one time.
Absolutely.
I have no idea how many millions, but it's going to be several million.
And I do have a cost estimate, but it's back at the chair, at my seat. But yeah, it's going to be in the millions for sure.
Thank you. That completes my question, Mr. President.
Thank you. Mr. Shoemaker.
Hey, just a few things regarding the medical plaza on Shriners, the Thomason Center. I talked to the project manager again a couple days ago. They plan on doing a groundbreaking tentatively now, sometime maybe middle of May, end of May. So that's good. It's been a little while in the making, so hopefully that'll come to fruition here in the next month or so. And I'm not sure which department this is, but last week we had, when the deputy was murdered in Jackson County, all of our flags were at half staff in the city, but Wool Market right there at the four-way stop was not. And I know I received several calls. I think some of the other councilmen may have received some calls. So whoever's department that is, in the future, please don't forget Wool Market to put those flags at half staff as well. Internet sales tax. I know some months ago, I think the council may have done something to freeze that money, if I'm not mistaken. And I was going to ask Director Labata, I just really have one quick question. I think that money is frozen now, we're not using it, and it's not out there to be used. But if we had that money now, the internet sales tax money, I think it's, I don't know, just over $2 million. Are there projects that you could be repairing, fixing, replacing right now? Could we use that money? Could you use that money right now?
Yes, there are things we could be doing with that money if we would allocate it into the budget. Yes.
So okay. So if
basically my repair replace list that I used to email out with my weekly report, things like that, that's what we would use that for. Those miscellaneous repairs that are too big for in-house crews, or I don't want to take our ditch crew over here for 2 weeks to do something. That's the funding source and the paving that typically we would use for that type of work.
Let me jump in and say, there's a couple of strings related to what is in the balance at this point in time and what's in the future. So the plan in looking at the bond opportunities is to use, maximize that use and the continuing use of that internet sales tax or MIMA affiliated funds. You've got some considerations to spend this money for projects that are applicable to MIMA by 3 years. And so use of that funding, a continual funding source, almost like the port bond for port-related projects, can be used for debt service. So the longer you wait to do these things, the more opportunity it could grow by 7 or 8, 20% if you wait 3 years before you get the money. Don't stack it up. Use that continuing revenue source to fund these things that need to be done now. These things don't go away. Asphalt doesn't pave itself. So the opportunity we're exploring is to use this continuing, again, without an impact to debt service, because this can be qualified in anticipation of this continuing revenue to fund a lot of things, but specifically MIMA-related projects, which this is.
Right. But Mayor, you're saying we need to spend that money on those projects as we get that money. Is that right?
Well, you got to have a plan to actually spend that money by the 3 years time frame. Right. And there are plenty. There's about 11 million of those things that are on the list that we circulated that can be, certainly we could roll once it's your selection of which ones you need to do first. There's also a number of grants. There could be, $15 or $20 million that we could use, dedicate that money as our matching part of a federal grant that comes down. So WRDA, I think there's specifically in your area, it's about an $8 million project related to WRDA that we're going to get this grant. Now, where do we get the match to 25%? So 25 or 20? 25%, I believe. So it's complex in how do we use this? You know, we're going to have to plan, say, for 5 years. For the additional, $5 million a year, how do we retire these projects that are not one-year projects, and we're not going to have to do it again? So a lot of this is a multiple-year, 20-year life cycle in some of the stuff we need to do. And some of it is ongoing. As things crumble, we need to have some percentage of ongoing maintenance, operations and maintenance for these kinds of projects.
And I do agree with that, Mayor, but I also, I know I've got some projects in Ward 7, and I don't know that we have the funding to really do.
That's right. Everybody's got
Right, I'm sure.
a little bit of a few smaller projects that need to be done that could move forward if that money.
So as of now, they're not moving forward. If we could use, not necessarily all that money, but some of that money, then we could move forward, probably all of us, and maybe get some repairs and some things done.
Well, I think we've compiled about 60 projects that, range from $10 million to $200,000. And there's certainly some things we got to do to correct drainage and to correct a lot of things we have to do. So again, the selection of where do you want to, we got X amount of dollars right now, we got X amount of dollars coming in that going to need to have a plan to roll forward. In this list that I'd circulated, it actually gives you these numbers. And again, engineering and input from everyone, this is the things we got to do. And this is not repairing a generator or fixing a roof. These are the things that are really in the ground and related to MAMA. So we need to kind of, I think within the next week, have a workshop. Say, okay, what are you talking about? Or of the things we can do immediately? And then maybe $100,000, $200,000-ish things, and what we need to do strategically, because it would be our intention, without really impacting our debt service situation, we've dedicated in anticipation of this revenue to do these things.
Well, I agree. We definitely need a plan, and if we could come up with a plan sooner than later.
Well, selection is there. We have general things that need to be done. The selection is the plan. That's what I'm trying to get across. We need to come to a conclusion. Let's do this now. Let's do this in 6 months, because a lot of these things have 90 to 120 days to get ready for bid, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Bond list. There's some of the projects on the bond list are also eligible for money.
And we did do, again, I mentioned the bid for concrete repair. Some of these things can fall right in, and we've already selected that person to do it. It's a matter of, do they have the crew to actually do the things we need them to do? So that was a big selection in our capacity to perform.
Mr. Shoemaker, the chair would love to see you make a motion for a workshop.
Absolutely, I can do that. I'd like to make a motion for a workshop for a plan.
All right. What's a good date, Mayor? You suggested it.
I'm here to serve.
Thank you, Director.
I'd like to nail down a date, Mr. Shoemaker. I'd like to nail down a date.
Yes, can we nail it? You want a date from me?
Yes.
Where y'all going?
Hey,
look at your schedule, because I know you got a busy schedule.
Where y'all going?
Not this week. I'm honestly, I'm good anytime. Does anybody have a preference?
Before we do that, we already have a committee that was set up for this, and we got off track on this. I don't have a problem with a workshop. Whatever time you say do it, that's what I'm gonna do it. But we actually have a committee that was just set up for this. And I like to see the committee do it first and come back. We've already had a committee set up.
Why don't I propose this? Why don't we let the committee do its work, and y'all work on your timeline, but why don't we set, and I was looking at it, it would be the second Tuesday in May, and that gives you ample time for the committee to coalesce together. Is that okay? Would you make that motion? Would you make that motion?
Date, yes. The
workshop
for this would be the second Tuesday in May, which would be May 12th.
May 12th. Does that work for everybody right now?
Not for me, I'll be out of town.
Can you Skype in, or can you do anything? Was that?
No, I'll be in training.
Okay. Well, you give us your notes, or We can have more than one, we can have a follow-up one. What time do you want to have that, Mr. Shoemaker?
Prior to, we have a 1:30 meeting that day?
No, we're our off date. No council meeting. Want to have it at 10 o'clock?
Preferably morning time, yes. 10 o'clock sounds great.
All right, 10 o'clock. Everybody okay with 10 o'clock? All right. Need a second?
Second.
I heard it here. Second.
Second.
All right, by Mr. Marshall. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. All right, continue,
All right.
Mr. Shoemaker.
Lastly, this is the last thing I have, regarding Biloxi Main Street. I know they have a board that votes on different things, I guess the things they do and where they spend money. Does the city of Biloxi, do any of us, not necessarily council, but any city employees other than Kay, have any say-so in what they do? Or what they, what they do, where they spend money, what the events are, or anything like that?
The board has no city connection, but Kay is executive director, and she operates in accordance with how the board takes action and votes.
So when the board votes on the different events and what have you, does she get a vote?
No.
She doesn't vote.
No.
So nobody from the city of Biloxi actually votes on anything that Biloxi Main Street
That's correct.
does? Okay. Is that by design or is that by law?
Well, we had them redo their bylaws about 6-7 years ago when we started using them as a conduit for the facade grants. The way to do that is nobody on that board could be voting for the city. There used to be city employees that would come, and whether they were on the board or not, it was, I think Bill Raymond used to be on the board, but their bylaws now make it very clear that a city employee cannot vote and cannot participate in any voting of Main Street.
Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. That concludes council reports. Move on to policy agenda. I'm sorry.
Excuse me.
Citizens' comments.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Me?
Oh, I got to come back to you?
Come back.
I thought I already did. You said you got a committee work or whatever. All right.
You wish it was that easy.
Go ahead, Mr. Marshall.
Okay, first things first, I had some other thoughts going, but my fellow councilman put up some good issues there. Some of the things I need to rebut a little bit on. First of all, for the first thing, I've talked to several police officers, just kind of polling them, because I got this thing coming up where our budget for the police department, $1.8 million, I know I mentioned it, people don't like it when I mention it, I feel like we cheated them. And I'm gonna ask that the chief please step forward just for a minute. If you know off the top of your head, which is the highest paid police department on the coast?
On the coast or in the state?
I want the coast. I ain't worried about everybody else.
Well, South Haven's the highest in the state. On the coast, it's probably going to be, depends if you're talking about starting pay and all this other stuff, there's a few factors there. You got Ocean Springs, Gulfport, and even the county that's starting out a little higher than us.
Okay. Ocean Springs, okay. What about D'Iberville? They're lower?
D'Iberville is around the same starting, but then there's some pay on the back end that's a little bit higher than ours.
Okay. All right. I'm going to be real quick with this. I plan to expound more, but I'm just going to come straight out. Every time I ask them, they say pay. Pay. And that's normal. If you work for Domino's Pizza, you work for Pizza Hut, and Domino's is paying more, Domino's is going to have more drivers. Dollars count. Pretty uniforms, no. Loyalty, people don't have loyalty anymore. They're looking to feed their families. So from this moment on, I'm going to be pushing that we have the highest paid police department. And I wish there was a way we can stipulate that if any other police departments raise their pay, we automatically go out and do ours too. I think we wasted a lot of money, time training people to do a job, and then someone is coming on and offering them a few $100s more, and they take our money that we spent training them, sending them off to school, getting them certified, and then we just train them for another city. So I want to make sure from now on, when I call a police officer, I don't want Joe Blow or Rowdy Dowdy showing up. I want the best officer money could buy. I want the best and the most mature, the most dedicated officer money could buy, and I want that officer to know that we are taking care of his family. 100%.
I agree with
He
you.
shouldn't have to go out and getting second jobs and things like that. We got your back. You got our back. We got your back. From now on, that's what I'm pushing for. So when you're putting your budget together, you're thinking about the numbers, that's what we're pushing for. The number one police department, we won't take second best. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Marshall, the mayor would like to make a comment. Would you allow him to
Half
do
of the
that?
chief, and what we've done over the last 4.5, 5 years ago. He's the one that knows who's up, and especially at entry level, but the rest of them kind of caught up with us. What is not apparent to the casual user is that if you have insurance, okay, nobody can compare to about $12,800 that we pay for the policemen or for the families. That's not always considered as real income, but it's real income. And it's that he does not have to pay, or the families don't have to pay. So the challenge for us is to make sure that they understand. And you know, when you're young, you feel like you're bulletproof. Well, the cost of insurance is not, or if you don't have a family, if you're not in a family mode, but that's a big deal that we've been on top of the world. So that's, add about $12,900 to that and compare it to these other places. But 4 years ago, he and I, the only two places that were in front of us was South Haven and Oxford. Is that not the case?
Yes, sir. South Haven's top in the state right now.
Yeah. So this is all considered, but it's all into what? The budget, the burden rate that we have to choke down. I'm 100%, 1,000% that police and fire need to be on top of everybody around, because we're challenged more than everybody around. There are no other places that have 60-something events that require overtime. It's a challenge. Anything's possible given time and money, and I think that's becoming apparent now. Let me tell you, there's not one person that wants us to be the top in the state. Nobody, somebody as much, but there's nobody more than me, and I'm committed to doing that. But literally, we got to take some hard looks. And with Councilman Gray, I'm proud of what you said. You've got to take the bull by the horns, and if you're committed to doing what you got to do what you got to do.
So, as I said before, I didn't stutter. We will be the highest paid. I know for a fact, I'm talking to the officers. They're not telling me much about anything else about what they money. That's what they want is their money. We're going to make sure that we're the highest paid. Now, if we're not, we're going to find a way to make sure that we are. So when your budget coming through is what I'm asking that you do, is show us that we're going to be the highest paid. If you ask someone, and if I ask any of those officers, they had told me any time that they worry about their health insurance, things like that, their first answer is pay. Have you lost any officers because of pay?
Sure.
Most officers that we've lost, it either goes to federal or they move because of family reasons. We have lost some because of events and stuff, and it is pay related.
Pay related. So let's just fix the real problem. Stop playing around with it. I know we got health insurance, things like every police department got the same thing. We're not arguing about that, sir. We're only saying this. We would be the highest paid.
Well, let me ask this question. If we took that $12,900 and added it back to your payroll and you say you go search your own insurance, we would be way ahead of everybody in the state.
We're not going to do that, sir. Sir, we're not going to do that. We're going to pay them.
Well, when you say pay versus burden, pay versus burden, that's a burden.
We're not doing that, sir. We're going to pay them.
Okay.
Don't dial 911. You don't want to pay the people. Mm-hmm. Next thing. Okay. About this park, I'm going to be very clear. In East Biloxi, we need housing. We can't get a grocery store because we don't have enough housing. And I've been on the record stating very clearly, I'll take an igloo, TP, and here molehill. We got to get housing. I stand with Mr. Gray. I just don't like the way it's being done. I don't like the timing. I don't like the way it's being done. I don't like the innuendos. And there are a lot of other side issues. One of which, we talk about the park condition, showing me pictures of the park and seeing how bad it is. That's not the citizens' fault. They paid taxes to have that park clean. They paid taxes to have that grass cut. They paid taxes to get somebody to get up there and get that bird nest off of there. They paid for that, and you didn't give it to them. So technically, you can't just say we're going to degrade a park, because my phone calls has been, why they let it go down? Oh, I know why they let it go down, so they can get rid of it, say it ain't worth nothing. Well, I've had phone calls calling me saying, we've done the same thing with East Biloxi. We're just going to let it go down, deteriorate, then say, well, East Biloxi ain't worth nothing either. No, we don't. You can't show me a park in East Biloxi and show how bad it is and pretend like it's not your fault. It's the city's fault. They paid taxes to have that park clean. They paid taxes for the upkeep of that park. And the fact that it wasn't done, that's not their fault. And don't use that as an excuse to get rid of it. Not when I heard in a meeting, did I hear $5.1 million for A.J. Holloway? I heard that, didn't I? $5.1 million. Was it worth it? Yes. No one bats an eye. No one bats an eye. We spent $5.1 million. And what has it done? It's bought economic development, it's bought houses, it's bought businesses. Every time you research, you pull it up. For every $1 you spend in investing in economic in recreation, gyms, ball fields, things that this city would spend money on, for every dollar, you get back $125. Did you not see that when you put that $5.1 million in A.J. Holloway?
It's doing very well. It's doing very well.
And that's the answer that we expect from our politicians. The truth, the answer is yes. But why we can't do that for East Biloxi? When you look at it, you look at East Biloxi. 20 years ago, it looks the same. No housing is coming to East Biloxi. No businesses are coming to East Biloxi. And when we ask for a place to play ball at, you turn us down. Now you're going to take a park, and you're going to take it because we can't find anywhere else to build, and you're going to put it over on the other side of town, which means that we have to drive to the other side of town. I do it as a trade-off for the housing. But we're asking for a recreation center because for every dollar you spend, you're going to get back $125. I don't want to sit up here one day and say, hey, because we put this recreation center up here, this is what we're getting back in return. It's guaranteed. It's guaranteed. That's going to help bring more housing in. Don't have a double standard. Do not have a double standard. Next thing is very simple to me. Naming the parks after someone else, your ball fields after someone else, that's fine. We don't have a problem with that either. But that's AstroTurfs and things like that. We'll get, you got AstroTurf and you gonna show me pictures of you won't even move a mattress off of our park field? No, that's wrong. You don't degrade us and then pretend like it's East Biloxi's fault. No. As far as this deal with this selling this park, I'm going to stand with East Biloxi. Ward 1 and Ward 2 will stand together. But I do want to table, and I do want it to come back as a request for proposal to see what we're getting into. I want stipulations. If they're going to build apartments, I want stipulations, say how long and when would you start and what kind of apartments we're going to be building. We're not going to turn land over and then the developer can change their mind, say we changed our mind, we're going to do this and do that. No, we're going to have it in writing with stipulations. Other than that, I'm not going to go forward. I have several other things, but I want to mention this before I go any further. As far as the MIMA funds, it was mentioned that if by chance we had those funds that were frozen, and I am a part of the crew that froze those funds. If by chance those monies had not been frozen, truth be the matter, it would have went towards a lawsuit. That was the vote, to put the money towards a lawsuit. Not one pothole, not one sidewalk, not one street, not $1 of that money would have went to any of those streets, any of those projects. To sit here and pretend like they would have was wrong. That was not the vote on the table. That's how that money got frozen. I'm okay with taking the money and splitting it up so that you can get anything you want done in your ward. But we want to make sure it's done evenly. Not all of it going to Ward 6. Evenly. If there's a way to do that, we need to come together as a team and figure out a way to do just that. If by chance we can't do that, and I'm okay with what the mayor said, take the money, use the money for the projects. We had an $18 million bond. We can take that money and use that money in order to eliminate almost $12 million of it with the monument fund. We're okay with that. No one's against that, but it has to be done equally. We don't spend money on one ward and turn around and point to the other ward's parks and say, look how bad it is. Let's just throw it away. That's wrong. We're not doing that. I have more, but I'm going to let it go. Thank you.
Hey, Mr. President, may I?
Mr. Shoemaker is recognized.
And my apologies, y'all, I was going to wait, but everybody has mentioned Danella Park, I think, but me. I was going to save it till we got to it on the consent. But if it's okay, I may make a few comments, just since everyone else has. Honestly, I'm torn. We have to be fiscally responsible to the city. However, I've been inundated with calls. A lot of people I went to school with played there. I played there a little bit when I was growing up, so I get both sides. And I guess the condition the fields are in now, the city of Biloxi is to blame for that 100%. The city of Biloxi for years should have done something with that, and the city of Biloxi did nothing. That's why the light poles look like they are, and that's why the grass in the fields are. So there's nobody to blame but Biloxi for that. So we need to take responsibility, whether any of us had anything to do with it when it happened or not. That's on the city of Biloxi. Some of my issues with selling it, we don't know how much we're going to sell it for. I'm assuming once we make that surplus, if we approve that, by law, I think we have to get a appraisal on it. We don't know if it's 100,000 or $1 million. So if it's low, are we just going to take whatever we get from the developer, or do we know what the developer's even going to give us for it? I don't know if we're that far along in the contract, or do we even have a contract? So my concern is we go ahead, we pass it, it's surplus. This person that wants to build apartments decides he doesn't want to build apartments now. Then what happens to that property? Who comes in there and buys it? Because it will be for sale, I'm assuming. We know what the price will be because it's been appraised. I mean, to me, there's so many what-ifs and unknowns on the selling part right now, which is one of my issues. I mean, look, Ward 7 has no ballparks, so anywhere we go, I mean, we're going to have to travel to play, whether it's Woolmarket or the complex, sports complex. Ward 1 does, y'all said it, Ward 1 has other places to play. So I don't feel as bad as some of the kids in East Biloxi, because they do have other places. If we were going to have a park, they do have other places, luckily, to play. But where do we stop? I played at Volunteer Park, it's gone. Hollis Field's gone, Cavalier Park's gone. All those are gone. We destroyed Danella Park. Then what happens? Do we destroy Hiller Park? It's in disarray now. My gosh, it needs more work than Danella Park. So in a month or two, are we talking about, hey, let's go ahead and sell Hiller Park? I don't know. I mean, I'm being serious when I say that. So I know we're not voting on it right this second, and like I said, I'm torn between the two, but I just think there's a lot of unknowns now about selling it and about go ahead and making it surplus property. And I don't know, really, can we legally sell that? Do we have anything on paper? I know it was given to the city.
This is the first step in an opportunity. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead, Mark, go ahead.
But the way the opportunity is, the $200,000, $300,000, even $1 million. if it would be that. The way we're looking at what's possible, okay, 200 apartments. Do the arithmetic. We have any developers or builders out there? Have you seen an apartment that you could build for less than $150,000 a unit? Do 200 times 150,000, 30 million. Do 30 mills on top of 30 million. That's the opportunity. Then not just the cost of the thing, the opportunity to grow the revenue, 30 million. And that's the opportunity. The first step in this opportunity is to see, that it is surplus and we can deal with these folks. The people that started the whole, research of the opportunity was going to do some things in other places, but Councilman Gray mentioned about the property they were ready to pull the trigger on had a lot of issues with trees. This is a pretty straightforward opportunity. We don't have to, we haven't been foolish in pulling the trigger on any of these things, but this is an opportunity, and we're tasked with making the highest and best use of the property we have, and that's it in a nutshell. It's not the value of the sale, it's the value of what's going to be in place for the next 25 years. So 30 million is a lot different than 100, 200,000.
No, I agree. We're not making land anymore, and I hate to just give something away. Although, look, we'll make money, and I agree 100%. East Biloxi, they need development, and I don't know of anything that I can think of where they've had any opportunity for development like this. So I agree, we need that.
Well,
you guys need it. I mean, it's needed in the city, and especially East Biloxi.
You can look at the, Councilman Gray, we got together and looked at that property that was zoned in various places south of Howard Avenue, from Point Cadet all the way to Claiborne Street. And you can see when we put it to a mode where you can make more money in a fashion that you didn't have to fade some of the FEMA flood insurance things. We're having progress right now just because of that. This would be another approach to let's make this land more effective and more cost effective to pull projects together. This is just the first step. And you're going to have to trust us, and Peter keeps us straight on hey, this is real or this is not real, and we don't have to do it. And of course, whatever we do is going to be approved by y'all.
Right.
Yeah, this is just to declare surplus. That would give us the right to talk to this developer or other developers. And we will, if we have a contract, if we can reach a contract, they still have to do their due diligence. They're going to want to verify if there's any caveats. I don't think there are, but they're going to verify that independently. There'll be appraisals. We will put restrictions in that contract of their timetable to build. We will put restrictions on there that if they don't build, we have the right to get it back for half the price. So we'll put that together, but the first step is just to have it declared surplus.
Last question I have, do we have something in writing that we can sell that? I know there was some talk or something not talk, I guess, it was given to the city many years ago. So can we legally sell that?
All I've seen is something that's, it's on a map that says public ground, the deed itself. I've not seen the actual deed, but I've heard the actual deed does not have any restrictions. It was given to the city. The city can use it for any use that it finds appropriate, and that includes selling it. But that's still to be finally determined, I guess.
Right, that would be something, obviously, that would be looked into.
I'm not gonna, I don't know what's back in the 1920s land records, and that's something for them to do their own diligence as well, before we go out and pay for title opinions and all of that.
Let me say this, I forgot to, everybody talking about that baseball. Now, that wasn't my home park. But when I played on that field, it was called Rose Street, okay? And there was no Rossetti Street, it was Rose Street, and that was the park. Just want to throw that, my 2 cents in my...
That back when I rode horses back and forth?
Yeah, we did that too. George Lawrence was playing.
That's all I have. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, I do have one more thing, and I just want to correct the record. I appreciate the integrity of our councilmen, my fellow colleagues on there, but to say that there was more money spent in Ward 6 from MIMA funds, that's inaccurate. Since 2022, there was about $358,000 of MIMA funds spent in Ward 6. That's about half. If you did it equally, it's about 14%. So Ward 6 is not just based on MIMA funds. It's based on a team, and I have to believe it's not based on just me. I know I've been the councilman for nearly 14 years, but it's been a team effort of directors, supervisors, state representatives, and you know who the other team members are? The citizens who decided to live and relocate in this area, the entrepreneurs who took the risk to build neighborhoods, to build businesses. That is what the success story is, and that's a model for the rest of Biloxi that I'm roll up my sleeves, and I'll help any of my colleagues with any of the initiatives, and y'all know that. Anything that y'all brought to the table that's worthwhile supporting makes sense, and we have the financial capability. I certainly stand ready to support it, but I just want the record to be clear. On MIMA funds, Ward 6 is only used about 7%, which is if you did it equally, it would be 14% per ward, thereabouts. And we've only spent or utilized 7% of the MIMA funds. Any other comments on that?
Yes.
You want to make?
You can go first.
We'll come back to you, Mr. Marshall.
One thing we need to think about here. We all have history at that ballpark. We've all played at that ballpark. That ballpark has shaped all of us in different ways. You know, I mean, all my friends grew up there. We have to start looking out for the better of the city. The point can get back better than what it ever was, and it could look like Ward 6 and Ward 4 and Ward 5.
Thank you.
You know, it could come back, but if we don't try and we don't help, well, we're a felon city, is what we're going to do.
Let's go.
So we might as well let it grow up
Let's
and
go.
start deer hunting down there. All right, that's all I
All
have.
right, Mr. Marshall, what do you got?
Yeah. No one's saying that Ward 6 or any other wards
You
got
said
more.
that earlier, but go ahead.
I said, I'm very clear about it. I said we wouldn't want that to happen. However, let me say this. You keep talking about the investment that you put into it. Okay, are you saying that if you put that investment into East Biloxi, that we won't get the return? We're not good enough?
I didn't say that. I said there's been entrepreneurs
Because
that
of
have
the
taken
parks,
risk,
because-
not the city. There's been entrepreneurs. Go talk to the Keith Fayards. and go
Because
talk-
of the investment from the city, the taxpayers' funds have gone into there to entice them, which is normal, which is called economic development from the city. So the economic development from the city, you can see where the money went. It's right there. You can see it. So when he's sitting out there in Ward 7 for a place that's been annexed, and he's asking for sidewalks, he's asking the ditches to be cleaned, and he don't even have a park. He don't have a recreation baseball field.
We're all one
How can-
team. We're all one team. There's nobody
But we
hurting
don't see
anybody
one team
here.
results.
And to imply that is not right. So
No, sir, I'm not implying, I'm telling you, you don't see one team results. Period. You see one ward results, and everyone else is doing without. So yes, we're going to speak up.
yeah. That concludes your report?
Yes.
Thank you. All right. We'll move on to the, no, we're getting to the public comments, citizens' comments. We've got a total allotted time of 45 minutes. When you're recognized, raise your hand. You'll be recognized. Come up to the front and sign in your name and your address legibly, and state your name and address for the record for the clerk to report. Make sure your comments are directed to the chair and the city council here. We want to hear what you have to say, and we want to do it in a civil manner. So we'll start on my left, your right. Yes, sir. Yep. Come on up. All right, we got you.
My name is John. State appraisal, development business, consulting business, been at 50 years, some of you up. What I'm here to talk about is opposition to item number F, an ordinance to approve a text that would restrict the use of properties The two biggest things in real estate, and I think some of you have talked about this, are location and highest and best use. You don't come down to the beach to put generally certain things, and you don't go, short-term rentals don't fit in a subdivision, like Sun Kids. I live in Brighton Place. Somebody tried to do one in there. A doctor had moved out. They were ridiculous. But if you look at 30A down near Destin, most beautiful strip of 7 miles you've ever seen. Guess what it has? 100% short-term rentals, little restaurants, shopping centers, they all blend in. We've got to restrict somebody that has an RM 20, which means 20 units per acre, or an RM 30, 30 units per acre, and say, go retroactively back, say, hey, you can't put short-term rentals down on the beach where they should be. They should be at or near the beach. They shouldn't be in subdivisions, but to restrict it, I'll give you a real quick example, real quick. I know everybody's tied for time. 2nd Street, Gulfport. A lot of people think best street in Gulfport because it's near the beach, it's got some 100-year-old homes, so forth and so on. Had a hearing down there, and I went down there for some clients that live there that didn't want VRBOs on 2nd Street. Well, there was 28 of them there already. And there's a little 10-unit building at the east end that we were handling some property there. And the members of that 10-unit voted against RBO, or it cost one owner it cost her 35%. Nobody would buy it if you couldn't. I'm not saying that. They don't need to be next to your house. They don't need to be all up in a church, but on the beach, you're hurting the city, you're hurting the property owners, or a few people maybe that live there and say, I don't want one near me. A lot of people may not have wanted you to build your big house there. And a lot of people may not have wanted, we look at cruising the coast. Come here from Louisiana, all right, I'll get up.
Yep.
They have a $100,000 car.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Go to a casino or a hotel.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I'm against that.
I understand. Anyone else on my left? Yes, ma'am, in the front.
Hello, my name is Jennifer Noble. I live in the 2300 block of Mary Lane, located in Ward 4. I also own property in Wards 1, 3, and 5. First, I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak today. I appreciate it. In 2023, this body faced a situation where the land development ordinance did not contain definitions for social services agencies or soup kitchens. In response, the council asked the right questions, acknowledged the gap, and ultimately adopted clear, accurate definitions for both uses, place them in the appropriate zones, and strengthen the integrity of the LGO. That process in 2023 is an important contrast to what is being asked of you today. The proposal before you does not identify a missing use, not correct an oversight, and instead it asks the city to reshape the long-standing definition of halfway house so that one specific project can qualify for a conditional use permit. Population described in this application does not match the traditional meaning of halfway house, which is always referred to individuals convicted of a felony, transitioning from prison, or placed in lieu of prison. What is being proposed aligns far more closely with widely recognized categories such as sober living, transitional housing, or recovery communities. Those uses exist and they are understood. And if the city believes that they should be allowed in certain zones, then the appropriate path is the same one taken in 2023. Create a proper definition and place it where it belongs. Redefining an existing term to fit a single proposal is not consistent with the careful, transparent approach that this council used only 3 years ago. It sets a precedent that any applicant can request a custom definition when their project does not fit the current zoning. That undermines predictability, fairness, and the purpose of having a land development ordinance at all. For these reasons, I respectfully urge the council to maintain the current definition of halfway house and to avoid reshaping established terms to accommodate individual applications. Again, I thank you for your time and your consideration.
Thank you, Ms. Noble. Come on up.
I'm Harry Kosma. I've lived in Biloxi all my life. Live at 209 Graham Avenue. Got a problem on our road, Aki to Graham, drainage. I've been dealing with this for 6 years. Yeah. Talked to a few city council members about it. Y'all got a lot of new city council members now. Something's got to be done about this. They come to my property one day. The north side of my house is sinking because of the drainage that went down there through where the street. Over the years, I've been in that house 55 years. Over the years, the city's done repaired that line a number of times. They even went north all the way to Division Street. Now when they finally got them out there, they dug that line up and they said they backflowed it. Kept the water from coming from Benaki and down that line. Water from Benaki is 3 foot high and then Graham Avenue. Rains and storms, all the water comes there, all throughout everybody's property there. Graham goes down the street, Back Bay, that Keegan's Bayou thing there. And anyway, we've been dealing with this. They said they had to get a new drainage thing, supposed they've already put on the north side next to the man next to me's house, get all that water out of the property, all of our property. Got so much water in our property, man next to me, his house is on a slab. The water's coming up through his slab in his house. And, but anyway, the mayor finally told me they got all this money accumulated to correct that problem. It's already there. City council's got to vote on it to approve it. I'm here today to ask y'all to get together and try to approve this so they can spend that money, get our street, get our drainage fixed before my house falls off. Thank you.
Come on.
My name's Glenn Saunders. I live right next door to Mr. Harry Kosmeyer. And my yard stays so wet that 3 months, if it don't rain for 3 months, you can go in the backyard and you still sink up to your ankles. My house is sank. All the plumbing's breaking up underneath my house. The line from my sink running around the front of my house all the way to the back. My back porch is done sinking, it's rotting down. Everything's sinking so bad, the privacy fence poles is done sunk and rotting it off. And I need to get something done about it. Back of my house, 4.5 inches, front sank 2.5, and the side sank 3. I've been told for 7 years, 6, 7 years that I was gonna get help. There's no help. They come over and fix what they gotta get fixed. My home's never been touched. I'd like to know what.
I would suggest you speak to your councilman and one of the directors in Public Works. Thank you, sir. All right, anyone on my left, your right? Yes, sir. And we'll come on up, I'll get to you next in the back.
Good afternoon, Council. My name is Tanner Downey, and I'm a civil rights advocate and litigator out of Washington, D.C. I need to provide a public notice to all of you today. My friends, there's nothing more destructive to our union than paying people to violate the Constitution of the United States of America, and please allow me to explain. The Constitution is the overarching requirements that every state must follow. No state can create its own alternative legislation, substitute that for the guarantees of the Constitution, then go out and enforce it as though it's constitutional. That would obviously be an unconstitutional act. So Clause 1 of Amendment 5 to the United States Constitution says, no person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on presentment or indictment of a grand jury. However, the state of Mississippi here has enacted its own alternative legislation that permits prosecuting attorneys and police officers to charge by information, not by indictment. That is unconstitutional. Now, an emolument violation is when you pay someone to violate the Constitution. You can't do that. You can never receive federal funding and then pay people to violate federal law. That's a federal emolument violation of Article 1, Section 10. There's two areas of the Constitution that reinforces this. The first is Article 1, Section 10. That's where it says that no state shall create any law that shall impair the obligation of contracts. So police officers, prosecutors, and judges are under a contract. That's a contract to perform based upon the oath or affirmation that they took to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America. So when the state of Mississippi creates a law that directs them to disobey the Constitution, that would obviously be a violation of Article 1, Section 10. Now, the second place that reinforces this is the 14th Amendment. That's where it says that no state shall create or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges and immunities of United States citizens. The privileges and immunities of United States citizens are to minimum what is enumerated in the Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments. They cannot be impaired. This was affirmed by the United States Supreme Court, 2019, a case called Timms v. Indiana. And as a result, the state of Mississippi has enacted a law and is enforcing it through agents who unfortunately you all pay to violate the Constitution of the United States. And as a result, there's currently an inordinate amount of people currently in prison here in the state of Mississippi illegally and unconstitutionally. So I'm prepared to litigate this at the United States Supreme Court on behalf of the more than 700,000 people that are currently in prison in America illegally and unconstitutionally. I'm here today to let you guys know that we cannot continue to pay these public officials to violate the Constitution because criminal sanctions can come from that. We don't want to head down that path. I certainly don't want to head down that path. But I must make sure that you guys are aware that paying people to violate the Constitution is an emolument violation, it is illegal, and it is a crime. So I'm asking all of you to please, let's take a look at Clause 1 of Amendment 5 to the United States Constitution. Let's confirm the things that I'm saying to be true, and then let's direct those agents to act in a lawful constitutional manner that is consistent with the obligations that they have codified in the Constitution. I have a notice that I want to put on the record, but before I do that, I want to say that you guys now have a lawful obligation to take action to correct these crimes. Failure to do so is, in fact, a crime in and of itself, and the willfulness and knowledge of said crime derives from the public notice that I just provided to you. So I'm asking each one of you to please, let's step up, discharge the duties of our office, fulfill the obligations and promises that you made to the people of the state of Mississippi, and together, let's preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States of America. Who should I give this to, sir?
Present it to the clerk at the end here.
Thank you guys so much. God bless.
All right. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Come on up.
Good afternoon. Thank you, honorable individuals. My name is Minister Parker, and I'm an international ambassador with Neo Maxim Ministries. I'm also here to put a public notice on the record, and this notice is issued as a matter of ecclesiastical authority, statutory protection, and lawful public record, delivered under 26 U.S. Codes 1746 and 508C1A, as well as the First Amendment to the Constitution. This notice constitutes formal, public, and legally recognized record of objection, non-consent, and lawful demand. It is delivered in peace, not to attack any individuals personally, and to assert lawful authority, moral clarity, and binding notice. This public notice is issued as a matter of record, conscience, and lawful standing. It is delivered without malice or ill will, and is with the clear intent to correct the course where harm is being perpetrated against humanity under the color of authority. It has come to our attention that policies, statutes, codes, and ordinances are being enacted and enforced that effectively criminalize poverty and punish individuals for the condition of homelessness. Such actions represent a direct affront to a fundamental human dignity and an abandonment of moral and lawful responsibility. Let it be made unequivocally clear that no body politic possesses legitimate authority to convert a condition of economic hardship into a criminal offense. Poverty is not a crime. Homelessness is not a crime. To treat either as such is to engage in systemic harm under the guise of governance. We, the people, through this ministry and in alignment with higher moral and ecclesiastical authority, formally declare that we do not consent to any policy, statute, ordinance, or enforcement actions that target, penalizes, or criminalizes individuals on the basis of poverty or homelessness. We do not consent to the allocation or expansion of public funds towards increasing policing, surveillance, or incarceration of the impoverished. We do not consent to the use of for-profit detention systems as so-called solutions to humanitarian conditions created, enabled, or neglected by institutional frameworks. Public office is a position of trust, not dominion. Authority is derived from the people and is inherently limited. Any exercise of power that results in increased suffering, marginalization, or dehumanization of vulnerable populations constitutes a breach of that trust. The attempt to regulate human existence through coercion, punishment, and control, particularly against those already burdened by hardship, reflects not order but dysfunction. It is an expression of systemic failure, not governance. Accordingly, we hereby demand the following: immediate cessation of any enforcement actions that criminalize homelessness or poverty in any form, recusal or withdrawal from creation, support, or implementation of policies that target vulnerable populations under punitive frameworks, reallocation of resources away from enforcement-based approaches and towards compassionate, restorative, and humanitarian solutions. Public acknowledgement that the current trajectory of criminalization is harmful, unsustainable, and without lawful foundation. This notice is not an attack on individuals, it's a call to awareness. Many within public service may be operating within a system that have normalized harmful practices. Thank you.
A point of order, Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
I didn't get his name. He didn't write it down. I need his name, and I'd like to know the organization. He said it so fast.
Are you okay restating your name,
Sure.
your organization?
My name is Minister Parker. My name is right here.
Okay.
And I am with, I'm an international ministerial ambassador with Neo Maxim Ministries.
Neo who?
Neo Maxim Ministries.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. All right.
Leave a notice.
Right over here. Anyone else on my left? Your right?
Hello, my name is Brett Payne. I'm supposed to speak in front of you in regards to a resolution I talked about today, but this is the first meeting I've attended. Just based off some of the conversations that you guys had, I just wanted to throw my 2 cents in. Why not, right? I've been involved in a lot of different developments where the goal is to attract people outside of the city. Creating smaller amusement park situation type things. I hope that that's where you're going to be focusing on allocation funds for this ballpark, different things like this, for it to be something that attracts people, not just more low-end housing. Daily, a lot more development. The spending of the development to construct the buildings, that's over, then left with the problem, in my opinion. For low-income housing, you have enough of that, in my opinion. But looking at more creative avenues, of developing things that attract people from outside of town to come here and spend money. Like the cruising the coast, different things. One of those things, I don't know if it's possible. Looked into this, but if water can be cleaned up on the beaches, kind of gotten a bad rap for itself as far as stretch of Gulf Coast. Bama, very nice blue water. Ours is not. I still love the beaches myself. Not the cup of tea of that can be cleaned up. A lot more people spend. Well, and that would solve a lot of your problems.
Thank you. Anyone else on my left, your right? Raise your hand to be recognized if you want to speak. I'll move to my right, your left. Anyone on this side of the room would like to speak? Anyone else? All right. All right. Yes.
I'm Teresa Thompson, Avalon Street. I'm here to request your approval for of short-term rentals in RM20 and RM30. According to the comprehensive plan, one of the major things that we were supposed to do is protect our historic neighborhoods. A lot of the property that right now has been made RM20s and 30s is within those historic districts or historic neighborhoods. We as a group had been together a long time, and we worked with a lot of time, energy, and financial resources over the past 6 or 7 years to preserve our historic, particularly West End neighborhoods. Consider that the removal of these 20s and 30s would help us, but in the course of doing this, we basically have lost our quality of life because we are happening to attend all these meetings to get somebody to refuse it. Most of them are refused. So there's a question to me between 30s where they are. We are in a residential area, but we have changed this property to RM30 and RM20. It is still residential. Residential is not supposed to have commercial activity. Short-term rentals is considered a commercial entity. If that is the case, it shouldn't be there to begin with. Now, I want to go over some of the recommendations that are out to y'all as how this is going to take place, and I have some concerns over what they're going to do. Straight off the beginning, the 4 zones, community business, regional business, downtown, and waterfront will continue rented for short-term rentals. Picture, these 4 zones have the vast majority of all short-term rentals within the city. So we have the area that everybody goes to for short-term rentals already covered. I don't know why we have to spread that out. Easy, all they gotta do is go get an application and they can make a short-term rental overnight. The 3 zones, agriculture, neighborhood business, and limited business, will continue to be available conditional short-term rentals. So we down to the pack of the residential section is what's left. The current case 4F requests the removal of the short-term rental conditional requirement for the RM20 and RM30 and needs the council's approval to do that. Statement regarding the maximum number of 75 rooms, RM20, RM30 must remain in the short-term rental documentation. We spent a lot of time trying to get that limit on there.
Thank you.
You done yet? Better be on that boat tonight, buddy.
Citizens' comments is now closed. We'll move on to the policy agenda. The clerk would read the ordinance. A.
Ordinance to approve a zoning map amendment to authorize a change in zoning for 4 parcels of land from RM30 high-density multifamily to downtown for 0, 166 and 170 Nixon Street and 640 Copp Street.
This is the first reading. The chair will entertain a motion to move it.
I'll make a motion for discussion purposes.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Tisdale. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Mr. Shoemaker. Discussion?
It's first reading.
I know it's a first reading, but would you like to discuss? We've done that before.
Given that we're finally getting to the meat of the agenda, I would prefer to get home at a decent hour. But thank you. I mean that with respect.
David, do you second that discussion? Okay, all right. All right, first reading.
Ordinance to amend the land development ordinance to clarify the definition of a halfway house.
Okay, who made the motion on that, Carrie?
You and Nell.
Mike, you and Mike now.
Okay. All right. And this deals with the, excuse me, with the halfway house. Just a brief history, if I remember it correctly. Better yet, I'll have Jerry, if you don't mind. Okay. All right. Peter, if you don't mind, just kind of bring us up to date on how we got to where we are.
All right, I believe originally this location, they were coming purely on a conditional use for a halfway house. Essentially, it's a I think the halfway house itself is for a person who's on release from a more restrictive custodial confinement, whereas supervision, rehabilitation, counseling is provided to assist them back into society. There was a question of whether or not this particular situation was purely a halfway house under the current definition, because whether these people were on release from some sort of confinement, which would indicate they were put there by a court or put there by through some other judicial process. I think Ms. Dina, who owns the house, the current owner of the house, was agreeable to this, going back to the Planning Commission to put it in the current state it's in, which is to define a halfway house, have two definitions. One, somebody who is on release, or someone who is not currently illegally using or addicted to a substance, but is recovering from the abuse of this controlled substance. The definition and the living requirements are essentially the same. The really primary difference is whether or not that person is under some sort of a court order to be in this facility. So that was done as is. I think the Planning Commission approved that unanimously. I think the thought was it could have been a separate definition. That still could be, if that's the pleasure of the council, we could send back to do that again. But actually, the only real requirement here, the only real difference is whether or not these people are under a court order or not to be there. And so, there's no magic language of what's a halfway house and what isn't, what is a sober living facility or what isn't. But it seemed more expedient and at least less paperwork of all the use tables and all that, just to add this into the current definition. But I understand Ms. Noble's argument, and I think either way, whether it's approved by the council, I think it would be fine. If we want to make a wholly separate definition, I think that would be fine too. So.
All right. Go ahead, Mr. Creel.
Yeah, so quick question. How many designated halfway houses do we have in the city currently, operating as a halfway house or with the halfway house designation?
I defer to Mr. Creel.
I'm not aware of the exact number, but the closest thing we probably have to it is probably what Tom Mims is running on Mission Lane. Those are really more homeless people.
Right, but it's not designated as a halfway house.
It's not.
Right, so this would be the first, to your knowledge, halfway house designated in the city?
Yes, sir. This would be the first one that we're aware of that would provide services to the residents that actually live there.
Okay, so second question is, I think I need to preface this with saying no one up here is against the mission. We love the mission. We appreciate the mission. We appreciate organizations such as this that are out here performing these services and trying to rehabilitate people. However, when we do this, we need to be responsible and look at it as the neighbors and the concerning neighbors. I know Ms. Noble's been up here a time or 2 or 10, and she has been up here and very staying on top of everything. She is not the only opposition. I spoke to one planning commissioner, and he says we cannot do something for one person because one person's against it. However, we're doing something because one person wants it. So at the same time, one person's not valued over the other on either side. The question I have, and I know the people in the audience are here, why isn't it, I know Mr. Abad, the last time this was brought up, he asked me, there's a meeting tomorrow, would you like to go? And I said, well, Peter, I don't need to go. However, Ms. Nobles needs to go. Has anybody reached out to Ms. Nobles and asked Ms. Nobles to come in and sit down, and let's sit down at the table and figure out what we can do? And the only reason I say that is because Ms. Noble has invested in a business adjacent to this property. She has a financial investment into the success of her business, so that's why she's concerned. She's done her research, she's done and she's been up here and provided information that is pertinent to everything. I just don't understand why she has not been brought to the table with the people that are trying to perform these services and asked what her opinions are to see if they can come to a compromise. She's not the only one. There's a doctor across on the B's in Gulfport that is building a brand new facility that has expressed concern about a halfway house being that close to his property. Across the street at the county owns the old skate park. They're about to rehab that into a recreational facility. It's going to be pickleball courts, basketball court. It's going to be for youth. It's going to be for kids. So now you're going to have a designated halfway house next to a recreational facility that is owned by the county that is going to be used, that kids are going to frequent. I truly think, and I would respectfully, you guys support this, to send this back to the council to incorporate a sober living facility that will fill the needs of the mission that they're trying to serve and also satisfy the neighbors that are trying to make a dollar and to support this city. I promise you, if you brought Ms. Nobles into your meeting and said, would a sober living facility work for you and for us, we would not be sitting here today belaboring this months down the road. We could have fixed this a while back.
Mr. Creel, did you mean send it back to the planning commission?
Send it back to whoever can put a use table into place. And so what's crazy is when I asked how come we're redefining a definition, I was told we didn't think we needed to create a separate use table. However, if you go down to item C, I believe it is, we're creating or texting creating another use table. Guys, if we need to create another use table, 3 use tables or whatever to satisfy the needs of the citizens of Biloxi that work in favor of each neighbor, then that's what we need to do. It's not the easy way out just by redefining something. Create something that satisfies the needs of both people, and then that way we wouldn't be here. It would be an easy vote. We would have already raised our hand. Thank you.
Mr. Nail, did you have a comment?
I kind of filled it up. I'll just, what is the difference between sober living and halfway house?
I sent that definition to Mr. Abad. I pulled it up online, and when you read it, it's very close. Live there, but have people that are coming from a more strict facility, and both of them are receiving service from the resident there. They're not, people from the outside do not come there to receive services or treatment. Only the people that actually live in the instance that do. But the definitions were very, very
Somebody from prison doesn't go to a sober living facility. The prison rehabilitates into a halfway house. The perception of a halfway house and the devalue of your property being living next to a halfway house is what we need to take into consideration.
Mr. Abad, were you going to say something? I wasn't.
No, I was just going to acknowledge it. That is the primary distinction, is whether or not these people have to report to a court. In halfway house they do, and in the other they don't, although I think primarily there's, I think it's 4 people live there, 3 are in the sober living department, and 1 is the caretaker, I guess, something like
And
that.
I could read this if you like. It's not that long, but this is the definition that we pulled up. Sober living community is a residential environment designed to support individuals in recovery from substance use disorders. These communities function as a transitional housing, providing a supportive peer-based setting between formal treatment programs and independent living. Key characteristics include, and there are 4 characteristics. Number 1, a structured environment. The residents adhere to specific rules and house rules to maintain sobriety and accountability. Number 2, the peer support. The residents often participate in house meetings and support each other in their recovery journey. Number 3, a supportive community. The environment fosters a sense of community, allowing individuals to practice coping skills learned during treatment. And the last one is flexibility. Sober living communities offer a flexible living situation, allowing residents to attend external appointments and seek employment while maintaining sobriety. Overall, sober living communities play a crucial role in the recovery process by providing a safe and supportive space for individuals to reintegrate into society while developing essential life skills.
Jerry, I was thinking Oxford House. We were trying to think of...
let me tell you, there are Oxford houses that actually exist, and we have no control over Oxford houses. They have Supreme Court protection.
And there are several located in Biloxi, and they're in residential areas.
Oh, yes, sir. They sure are.
And they are, we were discussing halfway houses. That's one that came to mind. Do you know how many there are in Biloxi? Or?
Well, I did think of one more. I believe there's one on Reese Bergeron Road. There's a rehab center up there. That's the only one that I can think of.
Okay.
But just to clarify, Oxford House is completely different than what we're talking about here. We have no control over Oxford House.
I understand.
If they would have bought the Oxford House next to Mr. Noble, she wouldn't be here today. Just
right. But it would be, I think, I don't want to parse definitions here, but when we think of a halfway house, it's somewhere between where you are now and where you're trying to get to. And Oxford House would be considered one of those facilities where you are now and where you're trying to get to. The thing is, we stopped everything, tried to get it right, went to the Planning Commission. Was this definition considered, or any other definitions considered, or is this what the Planning Commission came up with some legal advice? Or
we talked with Mr. Abide. He did some research and worked on the language to kind of make it meet what he thought was being asked for.
Right, and that's what went to the Planning Commission, right?
Correct.
So there was a public hearing at the Planning Commission.
Yes, sir.
Correct, for this language. I think I was there. I make most of them, but I can't remember off the top of my head. I think maybe Ms. Nobles was there. I suspect that she spoke. I'd be surprised if she didn't. Maybe I can't remember, and I think there may have been some others who spoke as well. So there's been some opportunity for some discussion to take place on this before it came back to the council.
That's correct, yes, sir.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Creel.
And as Peter mentioned, that was the path of least resistance. Instead of creating another use table to incorporate a sober living facility, which would have served the needs of Ms. Noble and served the needs of the property owner, we took the path of least resistance and redefined a definition in the thing that's currently existing. Rather than creating a sober living facility that would have flown by and we'd have been on item O right now, we redefined a definition that is the mere problem with the adjacent business owner, is the designation of a halfway house. Now, keep in mind, as I said, that we do not currently have in the city of Biloxi. So if we're going to do a halfway house, let's do it the right way. But guess what? If we're going to do a sober living facility that meets the needs of the property owner, then let's do a sober living facility. Guess what happens there? Heaven forbid we get another sober living facility within the city of Biloxi that wants to come out and do this same mission and rehabilitate people in this way. Sober living facility would be welcome in any neighborhood, I would venture to say, because simply of the definition of it. A halfway house coming into your neighborhood, nobody wants it next door to them because of the designation and the perception of a halfway house. I understand they have their need. They do have their need. Put them on Lorraine Cowan on Seaway Road. There's a halfway house on Seaway Road that does that transition simply because the prison's there. When they get out of prison, they don't have anywhere to go, so they're trying to find a way to, looking to put a bus stop out there to get them to the halfway houses that they need to go. This is a sober living facility across the street from a recreational complex that's about to be rehabbed by the county, next door to a business, across the street from a medical plaza that's about to be built. Sober living facility would fit this need much better, fit the needs of the owners, and fit the needs of the residents, surrounding neighbors.
Councilman, let me propose something. Since if we go back to the planning commission, they're going to ask us to rewrite it, and they're going to do what they do. Let me propose, if it's okay with Jerry, that let's table this for 2 weeks and let us come back with something that y'all can amend this second reading to.
I'm in favor of that, and if we could possibly take some information from Ms. Nobles and from the owners to where that way we can get a compromise between them two as well that would fit the needs of everyone here involved.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
I'll make the motion to table for 2 weeks.
I'll second it.
Just a moment. So we have a motion to table this for 2 weeks. 2 weeks would put us into the first meeting in May 5th. That's a night meeting at 6 o'clock. We had a motion by Mr. Creel and a second by Mr. Gray. Any discussion?
No discussion.
No discussion. I mean, I think it's just time to get it.
All right, we'll call for the question. All in favor of tabling for 2 weeks, that is until May 5th? Okay. It's approved on a 6-0 vote. If the clerk would note that Mr. Glavin was out of the room for the discussion and the vote on this item. Let's not call him back. David, do you mind just letting Kenny know? Thank you. That brings us to the next item. Item C, if the clerk would read this item, please.
Ordinance to amend the Land Development Ordinance to update Section 2341C, Use Table, Non-Residential and Planned Development Districts.
Who made the motion, please?
Gray and Nail.
Gray, and Mr. Nail made the second. Okay. Mr. Gray, any comments?
I'd like to table this for a workshop, and hopefully we can get a little more clarification out of this.
I'll second.
Okay, hang on. Wait just a minute. Let me get to Mr. Nail. Was that it, Mr. Gray? All right, Mr. Nail, anything? You're on. Okay. We'll entertain a motion. I think we've got one to table it by Mr. Creel. How long did we want to table it for?
2 weeks until we get a workshop.
Until we can have a workshop.
Could we include it in that 10 o'clock one?
We could include that in the 10 o'clock workshop, could we not? Carrie?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, all right, so that's going to be,
May the,
We could do 2 subjects.
okay, that's going to be May the 12th, correct? That'd be the second Tuesday in May,
that's right.
May 12th. So that will be, all right, that would be the workshop. So then we would table this until the 19th. Okay, table till May.
Can we just, do we have to give a workshop now, a date? Can we look at it?
Well, since we already had the one, that's only the
Well, we already have one that
Hey,
day.
we're going to do it on the 19th?
12th.
Well, we would do it on the 12th. We don't have a meeting on the 2nd.
I won't be here. That's what I'm saying. I'll
That's
be
the
out of town.
best time to have a meeting.
That's fine. That's great.
All right. We could do it the morning of the 19th. Excuse me, we could do it the afternoon of the 19th. We could do it at 4:30,
That's fine.
5 o'clock.
Okay.
So May 19th. What time, 4:30? Work for you?
So we'll do it before the council meeting on May 19th.
That's correct.
But that's after.
I know.
It's a 1:30, which is following the 1:30 meeting.
Right, so we could do it the morning of the 19th,
Yes.
or we could do it after the meeting. Typically, we do it in the morning, usually about 11 o'clock. May 19th at 11 o'clock?
Wayne? Yeah, that works.
That's the workshop. All right, then then we've got that meeting later in the afternoon of the 19th. Okay, all right, good deal. All right, so we've got a motion by Mr. Gray to table it. And who made the second? I did. You did, okay. Second is Creel. Any other discussion? All in favor? All right, it's approved on a 5-0 vote. Excuse me, I didn't say 6-0 vote. I miss Mr. Marshall. It's hard to miss him, but I managed.
There we go. Always leaving me out.
All right, so that was approved on a 6-0 vote. That brings us to the next item. Welcome back, Mr. Glavin.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right, we're on item D.
All right.
Ordinance to amend the short-term rental section of the land development ordinance to clarify text and fix Scrivener's errors.
All right. Which item is this again? Let me.
D.
D. This is a motion by Mr. Tisdale, seconded by Mr. Gray. Mr. Tisdale.
Yeah. Thank you. I didn't, good prompting. So Jerry, just if I can sum this up briefly, never mind, I'll let you do it. You're better at this.
The short version of this is that at one time, a couple of years ago, there was a motion from one of our planning commission members who used to be a fireman that we had some elevated structures that were being used for short-term rental. And because they were elevated structures, they needed to have more than one exit stairs coming out. The way the language actually got written, our fire department was kind of interpreting that it didn't necessarily have to be an elevated structure. It could be a two-story structure at grade that would require two ways out. And, you know, that was never the intent. The intent was that it would only address elevated structures like where you have the parking underneath and then you're up higher. So what we're doing is correcting that just to make it clear that this only affects elevated structures and not just two-story structures.
So you're not making anything illegal legal or vice versa? Okay, just wanted to clarify that.
And to visualize it, you know, think about, we build two-story structures all the time. Two-story structures that have two separate fire staircases on the outside of the building, you know, how that would look, you know, how that would affect historic structures. And that was never the intent, and we're just clarifying it.
All right, I do have one question on this. Short-term rentals, changing the language from shall, that is being required, to may. Given some circumstances, they may be inspected, correct?
Well, actually came from the fire department.
Right.
Where, whenever a structure becomes a short-term rental structure, it's added to their annual list to go out and inspect, just like they do with all the other businesses in there. And so I think what that does is give some flexibility to the fire department that there might not necessarily be required.
Right.
Mr. Fairley is here from the fire department, and he's worked with us on this. So.
Right. Well, as I recall, it was since it's a commercial enterprise, the thinking was they need to be inspected as all commercial enterprise or structures are in the city. But also I know that given the number of short-term rentals, geez Louise, that you could have, I don't know, probably one person full-time, all-time, every day doing these inspections. It places a terrific demand on your department. Peter, does this increase the city's liability? Would it be any greater or less than if it went from shall to may?
I mean, no more than any other commercial business. I think typically it's the initial inspection is the most important, and I think they do put them on rotation to where they're not ignoring them. Some may just be done every 2 to 3 years.
Right. And with Steve, I hate to call you up under the glare of the light here with the media present, but would the inspections be done on a rotating basis, or after the initial inspection, would it just be, oh, we got a complaint or a concern and we're going to go inspect this short-term rental again? Or would that be done on a rotate, maybe every second or third year? Do you have any?
Flexibility so that, if we got complaints, we still go and, if there was something to keep up, we run at that one time. Because the ones that are short-term ones are no different than just a regular house.
Right. Okay. That's good. That answers my question. Thank you. That's all I have.
Mr. Creel, you got a related question?
I do.
Okay.
So, quick question. It says to fix Scrivener's errors. What were the errors?
Well, that's the way that we listed it, just because it's kind of being interpreted two different ways. The fire department said, well, the way we read this, it seems to say this. So we just called it a Scrivener's error for clarification, and now we're trying to make it very clear so there is no misunderstanding.
So, and then we did change, it says structures. We changed the word to structures from, that was another change as well, from buildings to structures?
Yes, sir.
Right.
The multi-story that was in there that's being removed is where they got the impression that, hey, if it's just a multi-story building, then it's going to have the 2 staircases in there. So that was removed in elevated structures.
Now, in the exhibits, and it may have been an error, but in the exhibits, there was the exhibit from the halfway house language that nothing was changed in that as well, according in item D. So on our agenda, when we click on the exhibits to look at the backup, that language was included in this section as well. I just want to make sure that nothing affected, was affected with that as well. Okay. Okay, separate. It was just all included. It was in several of them, so I didn't know if the code section brought the exhibits forward and they needed to be included, or if it was just an error. Okay, thank you.
I got a question for Jerry.
Mr. Gray.
On here, it says, redoing the language on this one, anything that's elevated, whether it's a 1-story or 2, has to have 2 structures, two ingress, egress.
That's the way that it was being interpreted originally when the first language came out, is that, hey, if it's a 2-story structure, they got to have 2 separate. So, again, what we're doing is we're making sure that the intent behind the reason for this was that it was elevated structures up off the ground and not just a 2-story structure.
Right. So they still have to have 2 stairs going up and down.
Yes, if they're elevated.
Okay. Yeah, that's just why I want to make sure that I'm understanding.
That's correct. Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other comments? All right. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Item 11, 2023-104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 104, 1 Motion carries 6-1. Shoemaker. All right, next item.
Ordinance amending the Code of Ordinance relating to senior rates.
This was moved by Mr. Tisdale and Mr. Gray. Mr. Tisdale.
What this does is spell out the procedure, I think, for these senior water rates. Am I correct in my interpretation of that? That all it does is clarify the process?
Right.
It spells out what the reduction would be and so forth.
Right, and also we were very clear about the value of the house, that we're looking for houses that were 125 and lower. The word assessed got included in there, so some people could read that to say after the county assessor assesses it, it goes down to like 10% of the value of the house. So a $1 million house could be, quote, assessed at $125,000. So we're trying to make it clear what the intent was when we did this, is that the value of the house is 125 or less.
Before the ratio is applied, right, the assessment ratio.
True value, I think, in
Right.
the tax roll, we call it true
Okay.
value.
Yep.
And it also states that it doesn't include the garbage collection charges and so forth. Okay, that's it, thank you.
Mr. Gray?
Paul answered that.
All right, anyone else have any comments on this item? All right, all in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries 5-2. Next item.
Ordinance to approve a text amendment to the Land Development Ordinance to remove the authorization of short-term rentals within multifamily districts.
This was moved by Mr. Gray and Mr. Tisdale. Mr. Gray.
Yeah, I would like to move to table this subject to call.
All right.
Second.
Second by Mr. Creel. We got a motion to table it without any discussion by Mr. Gray, and it was seconded by Mr. Creel. Any opposition before any additional discussion? All right, all in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Move on to the resolutions.
Say when we wanted to, it was tabled until when?
Subject to call.
Oh, excuse me, all right, I got it.
That's okay.
Resolution granting the vacation of an improved public right-of-way adjacent to several unaddressed parcels fronting Bayview Avenue.
All right, Chair, entertain a motion.
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
All right, moved by Mr. Gray. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Creel. Mr. Gray.
This piece of property right here, I get lots of calls. It's another one of them that people just go down there and just dump all their trash. The city has to go down there and clean it up. We have somebody wanting to take this piece of property and do something with it. I mean, it's just something that needs to be done, and I support this, and I ask my councilman to help me to support this.
All right, Mr. Creel.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, this is the one where the bridge is out and it's not even, the road's blocked off, has concrete barriers on it anyway, so it's not usable right now. So for someone to pick it up and want to turn it into a revenue generating parcel would be great.
All right, any other comments? There being none, I'll call for the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Next item.
Resolution granting conditional use approval to authorize short-term rentals at 238 Rodenberg Avenue A and B.
Chair, entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion for discussion.
All right, move for discussion by Mr. Gray. Is there a second?
I'll second that for
All right,
discussion.
second by Mr. Tisdale. Mr. Gray.
Mr. Creel, I don't know if you want to answer this or let Peter. Do we have any pictures for this property? All right, this property is elevated, correctly?
It's a two-story duplex, yes, sir.
Right, so.
Top and one on bottom.
So what we just got finished discussing, they have to have two stairwells at the top, correct? Why not?
It's because it's not an elevated structure. It's not, the elevated structure has nothing from the ground level up to the first floor. So they would not have to have two.
So how would they get down if they was on fire? I mean, that's the purpose of the two stairwells, correct?
Yeah, but the intent for that text change from 2 or 3 years ago was that we have elevated structures, and that's where the real problem is with those elevated structures. You know, people living above it and having to jump off or whatever. But these are just 2-story duplexes, people living upstairs.
So this guy wouldn't have to jump off if it caught on fire?
Well, he might have to. He wouldn't have to jump as far.
I think that's what he was trying
I don't know. Okay. All right, anyway, we have any pictures? All right, this is going to be a short-term rental. There's 3 of them, correct?
3 duplexes, yes, sir.
Three duplexes, and this has come up before. Mr. George has talked about this. This property and
Mr. Gray.
Councilman,
Yeah.
right, Councilman Tisdale and Councilman Kenny can probably remember this. I believe this was in a low-income area, and that's what this was designed for. This is one picture of what, if you rent this is what you're gonna look like. You got another one? You got a couple of them, I believe. The fence on that one is, I mean, the one that's in question is parked right next to the car facing that way, not the one back in. So if you there, this is what you got to wake up to. This is what we're trying to get guests to come in here and give us a bad review over that. You know, I mean, yeah, you have some more, Carrie, on there? You know, we have trash everywhere, high grass, and this has been a this has been nonstop. It's just the trash. The garbage cans out by the road. We got, hold on a minute. This right here, I mean, there's 13 of them, correct? And they want to turn 3 of them into short-term rentals.
That's correct.
If this has to be cleaned up together. We cannot have guests coming here and it looking like that. I mean, would you want your kids, I mean, I've seen different activities. Chief, you're here, Chief D-Back. What is the crime rate right here on this road? It's a bad area. So, I mean, this is what we have to look out for, the safety of our guests. So unless all of them get bought, I mean, that's the only way to get them cleaned up, because then we got people that's in Section 8 or whatever, and that they're just, you know, there's cars that's been there. We had one car there that didn't have no tires or no windows, no nothing in.
Right.
I mean, so we have to look out for the safety of our guests. I cannot support this the way it is right now. And if we can get all of them, and I know it's expensive to buy all of them, so, but we have to clean them up regardless of if they're short-term rentals or long-term rentals or whatever this is. I just can't see bringing guests and putting them in a short-term rental in this area. So I cannot support any of the three. That's all I have.
Let me just tell you right now, when this went to the Planning Commission, the owner that had bought these three actually got commended for cleaning up those three, and he stated his intention is to buy all of them, that they're wanting to get it started. So Planning Commissioner Stanovich, who passes here every day, he commended them. You could read it in your minutes from that meeting, that y'all did a great job getting those three cleaned up, and we hope y'all buy the rest of them. And they said that's our intent, is to buy them all.
Thank you. Mr. Tisdale.
Yeah, the east side of Rodenberg this is from the railroad tracks until just before you get to Pass Road. These units comprise the east side of Rodenberg and that section between the railroad tracks and Pass Road. And on the corner of Pass Road, the southeast corner, you've got a gas station there, the world's smallest Shell gas station, literally. And
18 pumps in that thing.
And having said that, the only other business south of the tracks on that, between Pass Road and Highway 90 for that matter. On the east side, I think you have a church, you have some vacant land, and then you have the White Pillars restaurant. So I'm reticent, I'm hesitant to approve it just because that section is not a part of a commercial corridor. The corridor would be Highway 90 or Pass Road. So if it was a commercial corridor, in that respect, businesses east and west side, both of Rodenberg, I might give some thought to supporting this, but given the circumstances and the residential majority, so to speak, in that strip between the railroad tracks and Pass Road, I'd have to support Mr. Gray on this.
Yeah, let me just take, the new owner is here, if y'all would like to hear directly from him, so.
Yes, we'll allow the owner to speak.
Well, I do appreciate you showing pictures of some of the duplexes. Unfortunately, none of those pictures were the ones that we've cleaned up, which is the 3 ones that are closest to the beach side. We were also here 2 years ago, and you didn't even get denounced. It was a 2-2 vote. So lack of majority was the reason why we didn't receive.
There's only 4 here. 2
permits that we required, or that we were asking for at that point, because there was 2 buildings that we purchased. One of them was renovated and already started receiving guests. The big complaint that we were hearing at that point was similar, was that, well, are you going to continue buying them and you're going to renovate? We have continued renovating, and now all 3 are renovated and receiving guests still to this day, just at the requirement that's 30 days minimum stay, less than 30 days. We're already having guests. No one's complaining. They're families. So the proof is in the pudding in that sense. I wish you would have showed pictures of the ones that we cleaned up. None of them look like that.
But here's your chance. Tell us more. Tell us why. Convince us. Why should you get support for this?
Well, the other comment that was stated is that it's not a commercial, area, but that's not true. Just on the end of Rodenberg, spilling into the, to the shoreline highway, there is an inn. I think it's Quality Inn, or no, Holiday Inn. I'm sorry. And then additionally, it's not just the restaurant. It's a seafood restaurant. It's a popular seafood restaurant. It's also a major souvenir shop, Sharkheads. And we've cleaned it up, and it's become a wonderful place that we have 5-star reviews. They're not fake. For the last 3 years for one of the buildings, and the last 1 year for another. From families that enjoy being there, that are military, mostly military families that are training at Keesler Base. And we have gaps in the calendar from them staying for 30 days at a time that we'd like to fill in with short term. We were told last time that we were here in front of the council 2 years ago that if we continue to show that we're trying to clean up all of Rodenberg like you're suggesting, that you'd be more conditioned to approving this. We've shown that we've done that. We're continuing to do that still. We're asking for you to show us that you're willing to help us to make that happen as well. The three properties that we've done this to are closest to the beach, understanding that we want to avoid the ones going towards Pass because of that situation. We've isolated our development moving up towards Pass Road.
I haven't had an opportunity to actually physically look at this property. Has any of the other councilmen actually walked through it and looked at it?
I have.
Okay.
You're right. He does have 3. There's 2 on the other side of him that he does not own, correct? The 2 that's south of you?
No, we own there's only 1 south of us that we don't own.
Okay, the one south of you. So you don't own this one, correct?
There's 2 there.
This is above us. This is north.
Huh?
This is north.
Okay. That one's north. The 3 you did have, they are cleaned up. They look a lot better than the rest of them.
Massively.
But it's the safety of everybody else coming in there. We can't just do two, and then the one north of you and one south of you don't own. So that's what people are looking at whenever they come out their door. And the chief just said that, the crime rate is really high. So we can't put somebody at risk, our guests to come here, and they get robbed or something happen. I mean, we just had a standoff right at the end of this road for 24 hours? 19 hours. There was a standoff on this road, right down the road.
Not near our properties.
It's not far from that property.
Right.
I mean, a stray bullet could have hit somebody in your property. That's how close it was to you. So we can't, I mean, I'm just one. I can't support this with the way the rest of the neighborhood is. It's a safety hazard for our guests and the citizens. Everybody on the west side of you, if you bought them all and cleaned up, I'm sure they would come help you, because those people want to see it cleaned up also.
Eric's very excited that we're there.
So we can't take the chance of doing 2 or 3 in here, and your intentions are good. You want to buy them all and do them, but we don't know that. So then here again is, you may decide you can't come up to money to buy the rest of them. I mean, there's 10 more that you would have to buy, correct?
Correct.
So that's what I'm saying, is the safety is the biggest issue here for me. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Gray. I have some more questions, but Mr. Creel wants to ask some questions. Go ahead, Mr. Creel. Go ahead.
So real quick.
I'm sorry, do you have the floor? Did I step on your time?
No, you're good. Go ahead.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Creel.
If we deny this today, is there a period of time he has to wait before he comes back and resubmits?
A year.
It's a year. Okay. So the acquisition of additional units and the cleanliness of those acquisition would not be a substantial change, or would it? For example, he has a 3 in the event he accumulates or purchases 1 or 2 more. Would that be a substantial change to qualify him for?
We decide we would consider this a substantial change or not. I would think this.
When it comes to short-term rental, the very first short-term rental application we had was on Briarfield. And when it went through Planning Commission, the people over there didn't have a lot of experience with it, so they didn't know what to expect. And there were people that came in that said, oh, it's going to be short-term rental, our property values are going to go down, and blah, 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 blah. And Mr. Foster, who had that first short-term rental, Barney Foster, stepped up and he said, I don't know if y'all have done your homework about short-term rental, but let me tell you this. When you're in the short-term rental business, all it takes is one bad review online and you're finished. Therefore, you have to keep your game up here. So, I'm not trying to argue with the decision that's going to be made here, but by not doing it, it seems that it's still going to attract the same type of people that are there now that are creating the problem. And here's an attempt to improve that situation. And maybe,
So following along your same reasoning there is, based on these pictures, I will say 2 things. First of all, the chances of him getting a bad review on a short-term rental when they walk outside and see the neighborhood they're in are greatly increased based on his neighbors. However, on the other side of that, we can't fault him for his neighbors not keeping up their properties, not cutting the grass. That's on us to enforce the grass cutting, the trash, to cite those people and to keep them up. The owners of the other parcels, have they been cited? Has anybody been cited?
We cite them all the time. And 2, let me just remind you again that this is conditional use. If y'all vote to approve it and the new owner here violates any of the conditions there, then we have the right to take it back to Planning Commission, bring it back to y'all to have the conditional use revoked. So you are not giving him carte blanche here. You do have the authority to hold him to his word and revoke it if necessary. So
you mentioned about acquiring other properties. Do you have any intent, or have you approached the other owners and have any timelines on possibly accumulating the other properties?
As everything, we're trying to run a business, trying to create profitability. This is a really great opportunity. It's a wonderful location that can grow massively in appreciation, especially if it's cleaned up. That being said, our investors are wanting to see and are really hopeful today approving short-term rental permit so that we can move forward and making sure that we're showing them that we have a plan. Is forced and not just, well, we'll come back in 1 year after we buy 2 more of them and repair them and see if they'll approve it at that point. And there's still going to be, maybe potentially, renovated 5 of these things. Well, I got,
Man, if you could only get to 6. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just.
And so,
yeah, I see.
Our investors and say, well, no, they turned us down again, or, hopefully that you approved it. They're not going to be too excited that the plans that we're trying to make here are thwarted. Eventually will be after we paid another 2.
So I'll say I appreciate what you've done to the properties that you own. I appreciate the efforts and you being before us today. I will say that I understand Councilman Gray's concern as well, that he has he has to voice the opinion of everyone within his ward. I still think a lot of it is encumbered on the city as well, on our behalf to cite the people that are in violation, and if we did our part and kept them on point, then it would make your life even easier. So I think we have a shared responsibility there, and I truly think this is a good time to venture into the fines, increase in the fines for multiple abusers of the code violations. I'll throw that in there, but so that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Creel. I want to add this. I talked earlier, we were having some discussion during our council reports, and we talked about the entrepreneurial risk. You embody that. You're here today, you're in the arena, you're ready to go fight, you're ready to go make a go at this. And if not you, who? Do we just let it continue to have the reputation it has today? Or do we look at your request for conditional use and your entrepreneurial talents and give you that opportunity? I mean, that's a lot. I don't see anybody here today opposing, this. I don't know of any surrounding immediate areas that are, I don't know of any that are opposing this. And if you go in there and you make this successful, it lifts all boats. And we have an opportunity to start that entrepreneurial process today. Mr. Creel, I have a question. When somebody applies for conditional use, there are, and correct me if I'm wrong, but what are the reasons we have to have a reason to deny, correct? Or not, when they apply for conditional use? Or is that's just zoning or?
No, you need to be specific about the reason, whether it's, we just don't feel that you meet X, Y, and Z of the 9 criteria for a conditional use, but you need to give a specific reason. You don't think the area is right, you think it's going to be a noise generator or problem area or something.
All right, so let's go through those. What are the 9? And I think it's worth going through this. I mean, we may have another one of these next week or coming months, and to make this man wait a year when there's no heavy opposition and there's an opportunity, he may go on and use his talent somewhere else, and we lose that opportunity.
These are the 9 criteria for a conditional use, and all of them are supposed to be met. Number 1, the conditional use complies with all the applicable zoning district standards, which it does. Number 2, the conditional use complies with all use-specific standards, which it does. Conditional use is compatible with the character of the surrounding lands and the uses permitted in the zoning district of surrounding lands. Let me remind the council that y'all actually approved some short-term rentals just north of here on the west side of Rodenberg just in the past few months.
Wow.
The conditional use avoids significant adverse odor, noise, glare, and vibration impacts on surrounding lands regarding refuse collection, service delivery, parking, and loading, signs, lighting, and other elements.
So wait, are you going to create more odor or debris or noise or anything like that? I'm just asking, I gotta ask the question. All right.
Lessened it, lessened. There's less trash, there's less.
Okay, all right, you answered the question. Go ahead, Mr. Creel.
The conditional use is configured and designed to screen, buffer, or otherwise minimize adverse visual impacts on adjacent lands. The next one, the conditional use avoids significant deterioration of water and air resources, wildlife habitats, scenic resources, and other natural resources. The conditional use maintains safe and convenient ingress and egress and traffic flow onto and through the site by vehicles and pedestrians and safe road conditions around the site. The next one, number 8, is allows for protection of property values and the ability of neighboring lands to develop uses permitted in the zoning district. And I, the conditional use complies with all other relevant city, state, and federal laws and regulations.
Okay. I have no other comments. Anyone else?
Yeah, I got one.
All right, Mr. Neal.
Is the other buildings for sale?
Ain't on auction.
Huh?
Not good.
Anything's for sale. We've already, the third building, you know, one of the owners owns about 5 more of these things. We went to that same owner, said we're ready to buy this other building. He said, I don't know if I want to sell. We increased the number until he was, you know, our intention was to.
Are you having people wanting to rent these for 7 days right now?
Oh yeah, absolutely, or less. Right, like, to counteract it or to argue your point, Councilman.
It's a discussion, not an argument. Yeah, okay.
Well, whatever. It's not that you're going to be at risking people there. They're already coming. They're already there. There's people staying there now. There are going to be people staying there next week and the week after that and the next month and the next month after that. They're already staying. That's not going to change anything. We're talking about that we're going to be able to fill the calendar also with short-term rentals, which can increase the profitability to our investors and give them the more of a green light for us to continue our mission to clean up all of Rodenburg. They're already staying there. They're going to continue staying there next month as well. We're limited to only having 30-day stays at the moment.
But the only difference is you renting the 30-day when the people get to come there and see what's around them, so they choose to be there, correct? They come around there, look around and say, okay, this place right here looks, you know, bad, all these other 10, but this one looks good. So they can choose. They don't come in at 1 o'clock in the morning and not knowing, because everybody knows you take picture this way, this way, this way, and the inside. You don't take picture of the guy sitting on his porch over there or all the trash everywhere. I mean, do you post that on your website?
No, of course not.
But that's what I'm saying. These people come there, they see, they choose where they want to stay, if they want to stay there or not.
No, sir.
The people who comes in, they don't have a choice.
So I'd like to clarify that. It's run exactly the same as a short-term rental. We just can't allow them to do less than 30 days. They don't come there ahead of time to choose. They're not moving in furniture. All the furniture and decorations are already there. It's run exactly like a short-term rental is run, except we're not allowed to offer less than 30-day stay.
I mean, you can change it anyway, but that's the truth. If you do short-term rental and somebody shows up at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Right now, they're doing that because they're coming in from Tennessee to.
Right, but they have the chance to leave there. You know, they sign a 30-day contract with you. They don't sign no contract?
No, it's still run on Airbnb. There's no 30-day contract. It's just that we can't lower the days on Airbnb to less than 30 days.
Right. I mean,
they're still coming in at 1 o'clock in the morning times, and they're like, oh, this is where we're staying. And we have all 5-star reviews. We don't have anything less because we work at making sure that they are taken care of and that they're protected and they're run well.
Well, it's just my opinion. I mean, I swear, if I went somewhere and I showed up at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, and then I have to get up and worry about my child or something, you know, I would give you a 1-star and pack my stuff and leave. I mean, that neighborhood, we know it's bad. So that's what we're looking at. You know, if, like I said, I know you're doing a great job with your 3. It's the other 10. And we can't make people clean up the other 10 because they're not the property owner. They are just renters.
That's why we're buying them.
So, well, I understand that, but right now the city can't make them clean up because the property owner doesn't live there. Our Section 8 renter sitting there renting them, and they don't care. That's why they park in the grass. There's trash everywhere because they get kicked out, they going somewhere else. And that's why we can't make them play. We all the time call Mr. Creel to try to get things cleaned up over there. They don't pull their garbage cans off the sidewalk. They leave them full of trash. Dogs get in them, stuff scattered everywhere. So that's where that is. So I just can't support a short-term rental being there. I mean, I just can't. I just can't.
I appreciate.
In good conscience, I can't.
I do appreciate, you know, your opinion. The facts are that they've been running for 3 years, and we have 5 stars. There is no 1-star reviews there. Additionally, the other facts are that they're being operated just like short-term rentals currently, except you can't do less than 30 days by law.
Right. Well, like I said, I'm just one vote.
Contracts or no moving in furniture. They're not showing up ahead of time, looking at it, saying, "Oh, I like this. All right, Bob, let's do this one." They're showing up at 1 o'clock in the morning too when they get in from Tennessee. They got to start.
I think your point's well made. I think both of you. No, don't apologize, gentlemen. I think y'all's points are made. Any other discussion before I call for the question? There being none, call for the question. This is all in favor. Those opposed? Did not, you count them?
Any now?
Wow.
Denied. No, what was it?
Yeah, I think the rest of them were
4-3?
Again,
2-5.
2-5, Kenny.
2 to 5.
Marshall abstained.
4, 2, 1.
Wait. I voted against it. 4-2-1.
Okay. 4, 2, 1. Ready? All right. 2, 4, 1.
Who abstained, Marshall? Okay.
Resolution granting conditional use approval to authorize a short-term rental at 242 Rodenberg Avenue A and B.
Chair, entertain a motion.
So move for discussion.
All right, moved by Mr. Creel, second.
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Shoemaker. Mr. Creel?
I believe this is the next building over, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct.
All right.
So question, no, just kidding. I believe we've asked the question.
Sorry, can I clarify? It was denied for the first building, right?
It was. You might have a shot with this one. I don't know.
Oh, Lord Jesus.
I'm sorry. Listen, I applaud your entrepreneurial spirit. Sorry you have to wait a year, but that's how it's going to be. Mr. Shoemaker? All right. Anyone else have anything to add?
My same argument.
Okay. All in favor? Those opposed? Motion is denied. 241?
241.
Okay.
241. Next item.
Resolution granting conditional use approval to authorize a short-term rental located at 246 Rodenberg Avenue A and B.
Chair, entertain a motion.
I'll move it.
Moved by Mr. Shoemaker. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Creel. Mr. Shoemaker?
I have nothing to add.
Mr. Creel?
No discussion.
Anyone else? All right, call for the question. All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carried, or I'm sorry, motion's denied. 241. Good luck to you, sir.
I understand.
And I have something from Ms. Creel, nothing to do with this case. if we're going to look at doing 2 stairwells for elevated structures, I think we need to look at this. I mean, I would like for y'all, for the planning commission, take a look at this. I mean, it's just, don't make no
Mr. Gray,
sense.
you're out of order. You're out of order. Next item.
Resolution to designate one live oak tree as a majestic tree located at 2450 West Shore Drive.
Chair will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Creel, seconded by Mr. Tisdale. Mr. Creel.
Beautiful tree, absolutely majestic.
All right. Mr. Tisdale.
Ditto.
All right. Ditto. Any other comments on this item? There being none, call for the question. All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Item L.
Resolution designating one live oak tree as a majestic tree located at 1044 Lafayette Street.
Chair will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
All right. Moved by Mr. Gray. Is there a second?
So moved.
Second by Mr. Creel. Mr. Gray?
That's a beautiful tree.
Okay, great. Mr. Creel?
Majestic.
All right. Any other discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Item M.
Resolution accepting the proposal of the Biloxi Beautification Commission's Comprehensive Beautification Plan.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Creel, is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Gray? Mr. Creel?
So with the revitalization of the Beautification Commission, we did a public records request asking for the comprehensive beautification plan from the city, and there was not one. So the commissioners took the charge and came up with suggestions at several of their meetings. They compiled the efforts, went back and forth. They sent them to us. I sent them out to each of you, asking for your feedback and your concerns. We went back to the commission and tweaked, took your suggestions into account, made the necessary adjustments, and then met with legal. Once we met with legal, we sent it over to them. They've made their adjustments, and so basically these are the suggestions from our beautification commission for the city's comprehensive beautification plan to be adopted by them. I have met with the Director of Parks and Rec, Jamie Lee. He had one concern that we come to an agreement that can be eliminated, and once that that line item is eliminated, it can be adopted by the administration at their discretion.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Creel. Mr. Gray?
They're doing a great job. I support everything they're doing. That's all I have.
All right. And Mr. Mark, I'm sorry.
And I will say this, and the reason why the plan is so important is because it also incorporates the charge for them to go out and start meeting with business owners and residents. That way we have a plan in place that they can see, that is visible on the website, that they can go to and see what their efforts and what our direction are. In addition to adopting the areas, adopting the medians, this plan encompasses those motions going forward.
Okay. Mr. Marshall?
Good job, Jamie.
All right. Any other comments?
We're accepting this. I believe it's a draft, correct?
Yeah, suggestions for the initial draft.
All right. Thank you. Good. Thank you.
Mr. Shoemaker, anything? I'd just like to add, thank you for following the process, letting legal take a look at it, getting us to be able to chime in a little bit, and it's getting close to a real good adoption document, so that's good. All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries unanimous.
Yes.
Next item.
Resolution designating area south of Biloxi Lighthouse as Fred Hayes Landing and endorsing Beautification Commission efforts to restore Moonwalk.
Chair, entertain a motion.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Creel. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Tisdale. Mr. Creel.
Okay, so I don't want anybody to get uneasy. I know there's $7,000 in here, and I know where we are, but I figured
it's a grant.
Yeah, I figured once we sell the portable school boards, we can, no. Anyway, here's what happens, guys. We've already applied for a grant, and I say we, the commission has verbally applied for a grant with the Mississippi Gulf Coast National Heritage. It's a sponsorship grant that we've been awarded once we go through the legality of it. With that $7,000, with the first initiative for the commission is the revitalization of the moonwalk that is down at the boardwalk at Fred Hayes statue currently. The original artist that drew that, or painted it rather, is coming in and she's going to touch it up herself, and then we designate that area as it's still going to be the Lighthouse Pier, but it will be the Fred Hayes Landing. I think the timing couldn't be better with the Artemis and with 250 years coming up, and with everything that's been said about Fred Hayes and here recently. I think this is the timing is perfect, and not to mention his anniversary. What was it, 56 years ago, April the 17th is when he did his mission. So this is $0 cost to the city. The monies will be are accounted for, and this is just the first of many projects that our Beautification Commission is champion.
Thank you, Mr. Creel. Mr. Tisdale.
I have nothing to add, thank you.
Anyone else have anything to add? All right, call for the question. All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Next item.
Resolution authorizing facility rental agreement with Dominion and Power Family Life Center and approving a reduction of facility rental fees for the John Henry Beck Park.
Chair will entertain a motion.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Marshall. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Creel. Mr. Marshall.
This organization, one of the churches that I approached, and I asked that if they would help me in the area. One of the areas, parks, is Henry Beck Park. We wanted to they've already been doing revivals and outreach in that park. I've asked all the churches to not leave me hanging, to continue doing what they're doing, expand doing what they're doing, and that way we can have a park that is more of a community park that all people can enjoy. They're going to be doing a event they do every year. It's going to be, I think it's 3 days. And I want to ask that the city support them in that, because they're going into it. They can go anywhere they want to, but they chose to go to an area that is needed. And I want to ask that this council to support that.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Marshall. Mr. Creel?
So the only questions I have are, first of all, Pastor Whitfield is a dear friend, so his family's a dear friend. I only have 2 questions, and it's just for legal purposes, for that matter. I just don't want to get into, I know currently we are prohibiting something down at the Lighthouse Pavilion. I want to make sure that that is separate, totally different from what and it's not that we're prohibiting it, we just can't give a discount. I want to make sure from legal that this is completely different to where we're allowed to give this discount. I'm in favor of the in-kind. I'm in favor of all the reduction. I just want to make sure that it's different than what they were trying to do at the Lighthouse Pavilion.
It is. At the Lighthouse, it was really just purely a church service. They were advertising on their website that the church service, they're from Ocean Springs, but their Biloxi service was at the Lighthouse Pavilion. This allows we can do reductions under the statute for the purpose of supporting social and community service programs. That is a finding that can be made by the council, and his letter set that forth in advance, so it was really very easy to fit that in.
Just want to make, for clarification purposes, I support this 100%.
All right, any other comments on this item? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 6-1. Need a motion on the consent?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Tisdale.
Second.
Second by Mr. Creel. Mr. Tisdale.
Yes. Really, I just have I want to read something. This is related to item 5E. This is Danella Park. I received a letter today from Audra Wilkes Danella. Her father-in-law, Mr. Dan Danella, was who the park was named after. Her husband, Mr. Dan Danella's son, Danny, passed away recently. She's unable to be here today, but she is making plans to be here next Tuesday at our council meeting, and the reason will become apparent as I read this. Severio F. Dan Danella was my father-in-law, a dedicated volunteer in Biloxi, St. Michael's Catholic Church. The Sisters of Mercy, VFW, and Little League were but a few of his passions where he dedicated his time. Grandpa Dan and countless others were committed to the cause of kids having a safe haven to play baseball. We know what Katrina did to East Biloxi, resulting in loss of residents and families moving back. Danella Park is no longer used, but should it be liquidated and sold? The land was given in trust to the city by the Kuhn family years ago for a park. Shouldn't the Kuhn family have a say as to the possibility of selling? Should it be given back to them? This is the first step in your deciding how to vote. Get their say. Grandpa Danella coached the state championship team representing Biloxi Little League and Danella Park. He was honored posthumously several years ago with a Hall of Fame recognition, another historical addition to his accomplishments. I say table, table, table the vote today. Why? There's much emotion, and many voices from taxpayers have yet to be considered. Their published opinions on selling this park and notifying me of their opinions must be accounted for. You have to consider yet another loss of their great experiences and memories at that park with Mr. Dan coaching them. Please consider them first. The Danella family would like the field used for kids to play ball. If tearing it down is the vote, then honor Coach Dan by memorializing him in some way. I would like this vote tabled so I can represent in person the Danella family. Sincerely, Audra Wilkes Danella, and her email address and phone number. So she is making plans to be here next Tuesday if this matter is tabled today.
Is that it?
That's it.
All right, Mr. Crew?
Yeah, if I could, I would like to, at this time, make a motion to table item 5E for 1 week, to be brought up again next week at our council meeting.
Motion by Mr. Creel,
Second.
table for 1 week. It's seconded by Mr. Tisdale. Discussion. Mr. Creel?
Like I said, I think we just need to concentrate on let the family mourn their loss and then come back and represent the Wilkes Danella family.
Severo, also.
Well, where you got Wilkes, she's Miss Wilkes, she was a Wilkes, which is a descendant of Camp Wilkes. So, I mean, you can't get more Biloxi history than there. So if we could table it till next week, give them time to mourn, and she can come and speak.
All right, Mr. Tisdale?
Nothing to add to that. I'd appreciate
All
everybody's
right, we have a
support on this.
motion.
Thank you.
We have a motion to table for 1 week. We're in discussion. Anyone else have any discussion on tabling this for 1 week? So Ms. Danella can attend our council meeting. All right, no other comments. We'll vote on the motion to table. All in favor of the motion to table? 3, 5 to 2.
All right, so now item D. So D, we have the fencing to be located at Mercy Cross. It's a storage. So what are we storing at Mercy Cross? I'm trying to think of what's storage down there. You got the gym and the field house, I believe is only 2, unless you're using a press box for something.
Actually, we're not storing anything down there yet. We are trying to move all the equipment that's on Lee Street, and then some of the equipment that's on the, we want to expand the parking for PD at the Division Street lot. So we're going to move our disposal pit that we wash out the vac trucks with, and our equipment on Lee Street over there too.
So it would be on the field, or it would be in the parking lot?
Both.
Both.
We're going to utilize the parking lot and utilize the field. We've got to have the fence to secure. A lot of the fence we're able to reuse, so this isn't fencing the whole thing. We're using what we can and what's still usable.
Okay, that was going to be my next question, to see if we were using what's there. Yeah. Perfect. Thank. Let's see. The only other item I have is item H. that's 3 storage units that we're renting in a neighboring city for quite a few dollars. It's $323 for one, $359 for one, $351 for one, so $1,033 a month. Times 12 grand. So what are we storing?
We're in the process of eliminating 2 of those storage units. What that is, there's some that we've had for a while. The Visitor Center uses one for their seasonal storage for Christmas decorations. They're constantly changing out. One of them is used to store Mardi Gras memorabilia. It's full. And then the other one just has some old office equipment things in it. That's one of the ones we're trying to rid of. So I'm working with Rachel now. We're paying it through the end of the year to give us time to get in there and get this sorted out. And we hope to only have one by next year, and that would be the Visitor Center.
Okay, so I visited the Mardi Gras Museum, and I love Susan Hunt. I want that on record. And I love the Mardi Gras, its culture and everything. But it seems to me that what's happening with the Mardi Gras Museum and with the costumes, it's these former kings, queens, dukes, and maids they don't want to store their costumes, so they're donating them to the museum for us to store. So now I know there's a room at the Mardi Gras Museum that if the ceilings are this tall, it's stacked that high with bins of costumes. So now we have another full unit that we're paying, I don't know, anywhere from $323 to $359 a month to store more Mardi Gras stuff?
No, we've had this one, Bill Raymond actually set this one up years ago, and it's just been there ever since, but it was full of Mardi Gras memorabilia again. So what Rachel and I have been talking about is that the Mardi Gras Museum, if they want to keep this storage unit, they would take over paying for it, and if not, then they would need to move it into the room at the Mardi Gras Museum there, so.
This one's paid, they're going to go look at this and figure out what are we doing with this, and we're trying to get a resolution. We won't be renewing this.
So this 12,000's already paid through the end of...
What happened is the company switched, and when they switched, they came up with a new agreement for us to sign, and so this is for the new agreement, but the fees are paid already. I'm glad it came to all of our attention because we are working to reduce 2 of those. I also spoke with Ani, and she is looking at trying to get one when hers comes up closer in city limits of the city of Biloxi. So this is a stopgap to get us through what we are paid for right now.
So, and according to the exhibit in the contract, it says it's month to month. So in the event y'all get it done sooner,
we'll terminate and see if we can get a refund on our.
So month to, all right, and then so you got Visitor Center, Mardi Gras, and what's the other one?
Community Development, General.
It's full of old cubicles, it's full of old office equipment, some other things that can all be auctioned, put out there, gotten rid of, and that one would be vacant.
By the way, there's 3 storage units in Ward 6. If y'all would like to come over and store the stuff over in Ward 6, come on over.
I did a Google search on storage room, and the largest size in the city of Biloxi was $215, and we're up to $360 here. But so, all right, so there's a chance that we can get this down to 1 by the end of the year, hopefully soon.
Yes.
Okay. And so we don't have any city facility that we could store that we can use, that could use the cubicles maybe, or that?
Probably not one that's climate controlled.
Okay.
Problem.
Gotcha. Okay. That's all. Thank you.
All right. Anyone else like to chime in on the consent? There being no one, we'll vote on the consent and we'll come back with exceptions. Let it note that we've already tabled one of the items. All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries unanimous. We'll ask for the exceptions. Mr. Marshall? I'll come back to you. Mr. Nail?
I don't have any.
All right, I don't have any.
No exceptions.
Shield, Mr. Tisdale, Mr. Shoemaker, Mr. Marshall.
I'm good.
All right, he's good. He don't have any. All right, move on to code enforcement. Open those up.
Item A, Frank Maceda, 280 Rodenberg Avenue. That case has been resolved. Item B, A&J Minute Mart LLC, 270 Iberville Drive. That case has been resolved. Item C, Silas J. Parkman III Estate, 243 Bloor Street. That case has been resolved.
Good.
Item D, Marvin Smith, 7060 East Larkin Place. That case has been resolved. Item E, R&P Properties LLC, 262 Crawford Street. That case has been resolved. Item F, R&K Properties Incorporated, 11489 Cedar Lake Road. This property is still in violation.
Is there anyone here to speak on K Properties, Inc., 11489 Cedar Lake Road? Being no one, this case is closed. Not going to hit you.
Item G, A Plus Able Administration, Inc., 266 Crawford Street. This property is still in violation.
Is there anyone here to speak for Able Administration, Inc., 266 Crawford Street? There being no one, this case is closed.
Item H, Geraldine Harris Estate, 773 Monte Vista Drive. This property is still in violation.
And Jerry, question.
All right, Mr. Creel?
This is a tear down, right? This is a demolish?
Yes, the owner is deceased, and yes, we are going for demolition on this one.
All right, thank you.
Is there anyone here to speak on behalf of Geraldine Harris Estate, 773 Monte Vista Drive? There being no one, this case is closed.
Item I, Shannon Donahauer, 329 West Drive. This property is still in violation.
Is there anyone here to speak on behalf of Shannon Donahauer, 329 West Drive? There being no one, this case is closed.
Item J, Patricia A. Matina, trustee, 402 Raynor Street. That case has been resolved.
All right, code enforcement is concluded. Motion on routine.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Creel, seconded by Mr. Tisdale. Mr. Creel?
I'd like to abstain from the Curry Johnson invoices and payments. And at this time, I would like to put on hold voucher 354751, vendor 7171, Brian Keith Hurd. There's an invoice there for $8,000 with no report. That's been issued to the council.
All right, let the record show Mr. Creel is abstaining from paying the docket on Curry Johnson, and he wants to not pay.
Yeah,
sorry, go ahead.
Hold on, let me hold that. So, the report was in the mailbox. I do apologize. However, according to the report was for February. This invoice is for March. So I would still like, there's no report for March?
What's it say right there?
There is a report for March.
Right, okay, so there is a report for March, however, there's still no report for February, so I'd like to keep February on hold. All right, thank you.
Okay.
I'll withdraw that, so just abstain from Curry Johnson.
All right, so you're withdrawing the Hurd? And
Yeah, just withdraw that.
Okay, no problem, we got it. All right, Mr. Tisdale? Nothing. Mr. Shoemaker, anything on the routine? Anyone else got anything on the routine?
Where did Jamie leave off at? Or is her?
No, he withdrew it.
He withdrew everything?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm with him now.
All right, don't rubber stamp it. Let's go. All right. All right, all in favor of the routine? All opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Mr. Creel, will you make the motion to adjourn?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn in memory of longtime firefighter Craig Perry Sr. and longtime deputy tax assessor Jerry Wayne Misko.
Thank you, Mr. Creel. I believe we all second that. All in favor? All opposed? We are adjourned.
Yeah. Got to bring my jacket. I'm cold. The air conditioning is working. Yep.